Don't don't check your chat. I'm
Yo, guys, what's up? Here with episode 7 of Let's Talk Comics. This week's guest, Fanboy Prime. Sorry
What's
for the
up,
late
everybody?
start, guys. I was having some issues that did not involve. Let's
uh,
just say technical.
yeah, there you go. There you go. That's an old joke I used to tell all the time back in my high school days.
Oh yeah, I
Anytime we
remember
had
the Mick Foley promo. Testicular fortitude.
yeah, yeah. So anytime there were technical difficulties, it became testicle difficulties
Yeah,
because I'm an immature guy, and it and it and it hasn't gone away.
I'm the same, man. But yeah, really
And
quick.
Lady Prime's giving me ugly looks from the couch.
Really quick, I'm sure like everybody that watches my channel already knows Fanboy Prime, but just in case there's anybody new that watches on the playback, his YouTube channel link is the first one in the description, so be sure to check him out if you're not already subbed up to him.
Appreciate that, Russ.
No problem, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. And you want to
Anytime,
just
man.
like jump right into some questions, man?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Well,
love the question and answer game.
yeah. I always like to open with what got you into collecting. What was like your origin story?
Man, the origin story of collecting started with baseball cards. I think um, my cousin came over with this piece of luggage. It was this uh, let's see, it obviously from a luggage set, but it was like the smallest thing. It probably was a woman's like makeup thing or whatever, but it was
Yeah.
full of baseball cards, and it was just I don't know. I was like hooked with the idea of getting a collection, and we slowly transitioned from like sports cards into comic cards, then transitioned into actual comic books. The town I live in, very, very small, nothing like it nowadays. But during the 90s boom, there were actually three stores that I know of. I've been told there was a fourth one, but I have no idea where it was at. And like I said, it started with buying the comic cards. There was the Spider-Man comic images cards and the X-Men images, where they were the kind of like the panels or whatever. And then there was that great Skybox X-Men set. And the first time I pulled a hologram from those those cards, it was just such a great high. And so I bought a book or two before like I full on jumped into collecting. I think one of the first books I bought, even before I would say I got into comic collecting, was when you could still get comics at a gas station. And so owned a issue of Avengers. I don't know. It's like the second appearance of Rage, if you know who that character is. Um, and I also owned, I think it's Green Lantern 13, 10, 11, 12, 13. One of those issues back then. It's got a great cover with Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Guy Gardner all flying on it. So I had experience with reading comics or whatever, but it was never like collecting, never collecting. So we're collecting comic cards at the time. Bought an issue here or two. I know I bought an issue of What If the Amazing Spider-Man had kept his eight arms, whatever it is, his extra arms, and it was just buying an issue. It wasn't to collect. It wasn't like I was hooked. But the death of Superman story kind of happened right at this time. It was like the perfect storm, and so once that happened, then it was like off and running. I remember having bought I think it's Justice League 69, the red cover with the Justice League, at least
Oh
that
yeah.
version of the Justice League fighting Doomsday, and I was hooked. Comics I was all about comics after that, which is
Yeah,
funny because
that
when I was a
story like brought in so many people, I feel like, to
oh
collecting at
yeah,
the time.
well and you'll notice when you talk to people around our age because you're what 43.
Yeah.
I'm 42, so about to turn 43 at the end of this month. When you talk to people around our age in a setting like this, where they're talking about what that got them into collecting, they will mention the death of Superman, like for sure.
Yeah.
That's there was just unreal hype around it. I mean, and I know X-Men #1 came out around that time too, and there was big hype for that. But it's more so the death of Superman. It just the hype around it, just that it'll never be replicated as far as from comic books. It'll never be
Oh
replicated.
yeah, no doubt. That
Yeah,
was just like the cream of the crop right there, as
for
Macho
sure.
Man Randy Savage would say.
Yeah, Lady Prime would appreciate that one. He made a Macho Man reference. She was actually looking at a new Macho Man toy today.
Oh
It
yeah.
was the Ringside Collectibles um, Mega Powers exclusive. They had
Oh
a
nice.
Hogan and Macho Man. Well, they took out the Hogan and they were selling the Macho Man by itself. And so, did you wind up buying it? No. You might as well just go ahead and get it. Tim says the death of Superman was the '90s. It and Nightfall, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I know Nightfall's on your wall. You put that set on
Oh
your
yeah, I
wall.
got that on like I got the Reign of Superman on this wall and Nightfall on the back wall.
Sweet, sweet. I know I talk bad about Batman and I can't stand Batman and I hate Batman, but that Nightfall story was
Yeah.
pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Batman 500.
Oh
That is
yeah,
my
it's
most
so
read
cool.
issue of Batman. It's such a thick book, and yeah, what a cool story because it's like that book is straight up. Hey, they fight. What's his name? Asbats only has the gloves at that point, the gauntlets.
Oh yeah.
Loses that fight, but then gets on the full on Nightfall costume, and it's off and running.
I remember like back in the day when I saw like the debut of that costume, the Gene Paul Valley Batman version. I love that costume so much, man.
My brother had a full size, like a door poster of Batman in that costume, or Jean Paul in that
Yeah.
costume.
I know that they came out with like a they came out
Tim,
with
how
a
do you? How does Tim not know that? Like I've made so many
yeah.
videos with terrible Batman covers. Oh, and Tim like made a video early on, and like when I was first on YouTube, and he praised me for being a Superman fan. He said, there's not enough Superman fans out there, and he gave me props for that. And so I messaged him and would talk to him from there, and that's when I learned his favorite series was Legends of the Dark Knight. And I was just like, oh, it's
Yeah.
a Batman guy. So why am I always running to Batman guys? Oh yeah,
I know
Lady
I
Prime is a
was
Batman fan.
oh really? Man,
Yeah,
you cursed with it from every
yeah, yeah,
direction,
dude.
man.
And my best friend, especially he's uh, I've mentioned him. I used to do a Monday Hangout live stream, and he would be on there a few times. Named Nightwing 207. We'll call him Beltron, and you'll see him in my chat occasionally.
Yeah.
He's a huge Batman fan, and actually, because I jumped into collecting comics in '92. Um, but the '90s boom, kind of when it crashed hard. So we have no more comic book stores in town. So I'd have to travel outside of town, and I'd still kind of pick up a book here or there. Uh, Maybe more trades then, which I don't own anymore. Who knows where they went?
Yeah.
So it wasn't until about 2004 that 2004 is when I would say like I had adult money. So that is like when like the legit collecting actually took place. And like I said, my friend Nightwing 207, he lent me so many books. He gave me like a short box. I mean, I probably have read like three or four short boxes of books that he owned that he lent me because he was so excited to meet another comic fan. And so like he lent me the JLA Tower of Babel storyline, JLA Obsidian Age,
Oh, that's
Hush,
so good. Yeah.
all these Superman stories. Did you wind up reading JLA Obsidian Age?
I haven't read that yet, but I read Tower of
Okay.
Babel.
Well, I remember somebody gave you a bunch of JLA books. I don't know if
Yeah, it was
was it
Brian
Brian?
LCS. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian LCS. And so I told you like that Obsidian Age storyline. I don't know why. Like flat out love it. But Tower of Babel and
Yeah, I still
Obsidian
need to
Age,
read that one. Yeah.
they're fantastic, fantastic stories. And so like I was hooked once he started lending me those books. And so um we worked together, and he was a manager and I was just a regular employee. We weren't supposed to hang out together, but we met up to go to a comic book store, and that's when our bromance started. It was forbidden love. Um, but we met up at a comic book store, and I can't remember what books I picked up at that time. Um, but I remember seeing a poster on the wall that they were about to bring Hal Jordan back, the Green Lantern Rebirth. So, I mean, all this is taking place at the same time, him lending me books, me getting back into comics. And it's why early to mid 2000s, DC is like my favorite period of comics. They were building up to Infinite Crisis. And it's like there were all these little hints, all these little tie-ins that were happening that you didn't know at the time. And if you go back to read Superman Batman #6, it's like President Lex Luthor's the president, and he puts Superman and Batman. He does some puts a bounty on him or whatever. But anyways, the heroes prevail at the end of this 6-issue storyline, and it talks about, or you see Lex talking about a crisis is coming, and so it was like the first hints of Infinite Crisis, and it just, oh man, I've got 4.5 to 5 short boxes full of every tie-in to Infinite Crisis that I've been buying over the years, because I want to do a huge read through. And then some are not tied in. Like if you go to readingorders.net or whatever it is, it has the Infinite Crisis read through. It has the reading order for a countdown to Infinite Crisis. Plus there's another website where they tied in every issue they believe tied in with it. So I'm like going between all these lists, and I'm collecting all these books and putting them in order. Plus I'm throwing in things that they don't have on there that I'm just unofficially counting, like Hush. I unofficially counted as one of these stories because it's kind of the first hints that Jason Todd is back. And I don't know, man. It's like my big thing that I'm doing besides collecting all the triangle numbers.
I just recently got Hush in trade.
Have you ever read that?
Not yet.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think I want to say I won it from John Comics with Kids in a giveaway.
That's awesome. Sweet.
I'm pretty sure. But I still haven't quite read it, got around to reading it yet. But it's funny, you're talking about like comic book stores and collecting and stuff. And I was talking with to Bearded Comic Bro on last week's show, and like I didn't like go to an actual comic book store until I got back into collecting in like 2015. Because growing up in a small town, we didn't have like a comic shop. I would get like my books at like flea markets and a gas station that happened to sell comics. So I didn't get to go to an actual comic book store until like 2015. I was like, what? I would have been 25 then.
Well, so when I say the comic book stores that we had here, there was one that was an actual. There was one that was an actual comic book store, but it's the one we could get to the least because it wasn't close to us. But the other two, they were in walking distance of my grandmother's house. One of them was a bookstore that sold comics, and one was a sports card store that sold comics. So it wasn't until I moved to San Antonio that I've experienced and had like my own LCS. And yeah, it was a game changer. So much of my life savings are, well, they're not savings, but so much of the money I've earned over the course of my life is at these various stores. What's up, nerds? I love it. Own it.
Trying to get the comments I disappointed Tim there, I think, with the fact that I haven't read Hush yet.
Oh man, like Tim is an awesome like when he posts a lot of the books he likes or stuff like that, like I love it. He collecting all the Batman adventures and the Superman adventures. That's fantastic. Like it kind of makes me want to do it.
Those are awesome books, man.
But then I'll see some of the other stuff he collects, and I'm like, man, like we have such similar taste. We have such similar taste that if him and I ever meet in real life, we won't like each other. Like
you'd be both be trying to like shop in the same binge.
It's like, oh, is that what I sound like? Is that what I look like looking for these books? But no, Tim is awesome. I always credit you, Tim, and Neil really for being the ones who kind of like really got behind me, and Brian LCS as well, early on, which is like though
Yeah, I
being
saw
so
him.
early on YouTube, it's always great to have somebody speaking of right, pushing you and encouraging you to continue doing it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
that
awesome,
comment,
man. Like the community really just they get behind you like so quick and just like push you to
they
keep
really
going and encourage you to
they,
keep on, man.
they really do. It's cool. Hey Trev, what's up? Trev, I'm sorry. I was off on a Sunday night and I fell asleep last night. It didn't help that I worked Saturday night. If I had not worked Saturday night, I would have sat through your show, Trev. It would have been there in the chat. But yeah, I crashed out. So I've got to watch it on replay. Manny with the Batman's Adventures was my jam too.
Oh,
I
that
kind of
series was
regret.
so good.
I kind of regret not getting those books because like here I am now with the son and some of the stuff I want to show him like he's not ready for it yet,
Oh
but
yeah.
those would have been great to have.
Oh,
So
they're like so expensive now. Even like the issues that weren't like key they're
right.
kind of like 15, $20 a piece for just random issues. I
Oh
didn't
man,
have a
and those
lot. I didn't have a lot of those, but one I can't remember the issue, but one that I remember having was the animated Batman and the animated Superman on the cover together.
oh man, that's a nice book. I saw Tim post an image of that, I believe, and I
Yeah.
went looking for it. Yeah, I was like, oh man,
Yeah, I can't remember what the issue number was, but I just remember it because that cover with the Superman and Batman together.
it's pretty iconic, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't even remember what. Oh, someone posted a comment there talking about the JLA, and there you go, Batman Adventures 25. He already knew.
25.
They posted a comment there about the JLA run being top tier, but also the 70s Justice League America. I
Oh
see
yeah.
those books all the time, and oh man, like when I get done with these sets, when I get done collecting All Star Squadron and DC Comics Presents and Secret Origins, like that's probably going to be the next thing I jump on. There's just so many
Yeah.
amazing covers, and
I,
um, I know at some point, yeah, that'll be something to hunt for.
I know I was
Of course,
talking to Tim. I can't remember if it was a comment or a message, but we were talking about like collecting and stuff, and I was telling him I like next year I'm gonna like show DC more love because I was mainly like collecting Marvel this year. And Tim was like, "I'm so disappointed in you."
well, the good thing about collected DC is it's a little easier on your pocketbook, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah. So
doesn't hurt the
next
wallet as
year,
much.
yeah, next year I'm gonna focus more on getting some of the DC books I need.
Do you see this guy right here? Wellbore. Hey, other guy. I swear, Wellbore purposely posted a Superman getting beat up cover. It was Action Comics where Booster Gold
Oh,
is thrown his face. I swear he did that on Saturday morning on purpose. But man, Wellbore posts a lot of books that I think are fantastic with his
yeah.
random cover of the day. Man, yeah, I have one book left on the All Star Squadron. Oh man,
Oh, nice, man.
congratulations! All Star Squadrons. I'm reading it because that's like the one book I'm trying to read through because I've been terrible. I'm buying way too much and not reading enough. So at some point I'll kind of hold off on the buying. But reading through All Star Squadron and it's dated. Like it's a little cheesy as I'm reading through it. So I kind of have to I don't know. You have to kind of change your expectations of what you're reading because like modern books for so long, like 2000s, like I said, mid 2000s, that
Yeah.
was the only thing I loved to read. And so I would pass all this 80s stuff that I'm buying right now, like the John Byrne Superman, the Man of Steel,
Oh man.
the
Yeah.
Man of Steel
Classics.
miniseries. I never read that until about 2 or 3 years ago, and I
Wow.
loved it. And I was like, "Oh man, you mean I can read
Yeah.
these older books and they're good?" So that's what really got me trying to buy all the Superman books from Crisis to Crisis. So, yeah, I have like so many big time hunts I'm doing, like the Superman books, Crisis to Crisis, specifically the triangle numbers, and then all this Infinite Crisis stuff. And then someone suggests All Star Squadron, I get hooked on it. Someone suggests Secret Origins, I get hooked on it. So I have a
Yeah,
very
it's so easy to
addictive
get hooked on
personality
those
with these
older
comics.
stories. Yeah,
Yes, dude. Yes,
because
for
I know for
sure.
like the first like forever, I was just getting the '90s books, and then I started going back a little further, getting '80s, '70s. Then I started getting into Silver Age, and just like so many different eras, I started like loving the stories and stuff.
I'm purposely trying to not let myself fall in love with Silver Age.
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep it, as far as just go back to the
it's
Bronze
like yeah.
Age. Just take it that far back.
Oh yeah,
But
Bronze Age is real good.
there's something magical about the art there in the 80s. Like, I don't know, those covers, something beautiful about them that you look at moderns and modern covers, yeah,
Yeah,
like it's cool and it's like, oh, they're posed cool, but like the covers don't, to me, don't tell a story the way the covers then did.
yeah.
And
I
may
miss
that's
like. Go ahead.
I said maybe that's just me being the old man, get off my yard, you
Yeah,
get off my grass kind of
yeah.
guy.
Get
But
off my lawn. Yeah,
yeah, dude, but it's just, I don't know. I don't feel like modern covers, they really don't do it for me. And I'll go back and look when I was buying a bunch of the Rebirth books, and when they started doing it's not a full on version because it has some of the information there at the bottom. But I bought a bunch of those covers, but I can't tell you what the inside of the book. It can't tell you what the story was on the inside because it's just a pose of Batman posing somehow. It's a beautiful Matina cover,
yeah,
but I don't know. Someone once said that the moderns are kind of like soulless covers, and like
yeah,
that to me is the best way to explain it. Like, they're nice looking, but there's no soul to it.
yeah, yeah. So many of the Matina covers are kind of the same, really. And like after you see so many, like I'd say maybe 2018 to 2020, I got caught up in cover buying for a little bit, and I just had to stop that. So for me, I
Yeah.
think it's always going to be like '90s books and older, because I wasn't from 2000 to 2015. I wasn't collecting, so I missed like so much of that era. Like I like the New 52 stuff that I've heard was real good, and but I missed so much of that era. So I just it's always like I picture it's always going to be '90s and older. Like if I want to get anything from the 2000 to 2015 era, I'll probably just get like the trade paperbacks.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I need to just pay for the DC Universe Infinite app and just read them digitally, because like
Yeah,
reading digitally is so convenient. But reading a floppy is the way God intended, It's
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
it's the way God intended it. But digital is so easy, so that's the devil talking to me.
Yeah.
Trades are easy. Once again, that's the devil talking. But nothing beats reading a floppy. It's just I don't have the time for it, and so
Oh yeah, especially if it's gonna like a super long story, like a 12 to 14 issue arc or something. For me, like with those, trade paperback is like the way to go. I haven't gone like digital yet.
it's convenient, man. It's the easiest way to read comics in the shower. it's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
digital off your phone. Hey, Pud Perfector. I gotta go
What's
check out some
going
of his
on?
videos. It's
And
been a while since I checked
Bub
out his
popped in
channel.
here.
Bubs, what's up, Bubs?
Everything Bronze Age and before. Modern pinups can be nice sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the new
Actually, I think it was
52 era,
Bubs.
I
I think
still
it was Bubs that was talking about soulless covers.
yeah.
I think he was talking about Art Germ. I think I saw him on a Comic Journeys page. I don't know who it was. Maybe it wasn't Bub. I can't remember.
It
But
might have been. 'Cause I know Bub, he doesn't care for Jenny Frizen either.
oh man, wow. And that's one of the more popular
Yeah.
ones going on nowadays. But I can see the point. Like, it's a beautiful image, but what does it relate to the comic other than,
Yeah.
hey,
Like
that's Wonder Woman on a Wonder Woman comic? So
yeah. I mean, I've seen
nothing.
some that I like and some that I don't from just about every artist.
I got you. But
But
yes,
like
I
the
agree
the
with that.
older artist, I think will always be like my my favorite. Like especially like Silver Age. Like I've really started to love like the old school Kurt Swan Superman and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. The stories are something else too.
Yeah,
But I agree
they're
with that
real like
comment. There's nothing like the smell of an old comic book.
yeah.
I have used that term for sure, for sure.
Oh
Soulless
yeah.
and dead behind the eyes. Yeah. uh,
Yeah, I've seen some good Jenny Frison and some good Art Germ, and I've seen some bad like Frison and Art Germ.
the problem with the art germ is all his girls look the same,
Yeah,
and
it's very rare
like
to see like
the
a
face
an
will
Art
look the
Germ where
same,
it's
and
like different.
yeah, like, oh, we'll change the color of the hair because this is a brunette, or this is a, here's your blonde Supergirl on this cover, and
Yeah,
she looks just like the Wonder Woman, just different color hair and a different outfit and whatnot. So I get
I
it. I
know a
get.
lot of people don't really like J. Scott Campbell, but I love a lot of his earlier art. And Adam Hughes, I love Adam Hughes, Alex
Oh,
Ross.
yeah, Adam Hughes is a winner for me. I think he draws some beautiful women.
Yeah,
I
and
can say I will 100% buy nothing but DC next year. Oh man, fantastic!
another one
I hear
come to
nothing.
mind, but it's like I can't. I can like
Oh, the
almost.
we talk about artist,
The name is
cover
like
artist.
on the tip of my tongue, yeah, but I can't quite think of it for some reason.
I don't know.
We're talking about soulless and behind the dead behind the eyes. It's the first one.
That happens
That was a
sometimes.
good one. Oh, bottom tier popped in here.
Hey, bottom tier.
Spawn and TMNT.
It really is. Bottom tier is one of the few demon collectors that I know, and
Yeah, I
uh,
think
it's just
him and Gray Man.
not one of my favorite characters. But yeah.
Gray Man is a
Oh man,
big demon fan.
I can't remember. Ollie was talking about Owen today, and I can't remember what it was about. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it was. So Owen is bottom tier collector's son, and so like
Oh,
they they Ollie got Owen, bottom tier collector's son, a red Hulk for his birthday, and so there was a video for that. And so Ollie went back and watched that video recently, and he wanted to let bottom tier collector know on Saturday's stream, and so they just have fun back and forth. I know bottom tier collector has said his son wanted to make a video, but just sent it to Ollie, and so it's just we're getting the kids involved in this. So like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
definitely, family vibes between me and bottom tier collector. We're not afraid to include that in our videos and whatnot.
Yeah. No, yeah, I haven't gotten into a Gold Key or Charlton yet, but there's a couple Charlton books I wouldn't mind picking up
There's some
in the
gold keys
future.
I think are really cool.
Yeah.
It's it's not that it's like I'm one type of comic guy. It's just that, man, I gravitated to the stories more from DC, and I would try to get behind some Marvel because I have some in my collection, like New Avengers when Bendis was on there, which was good. It's a good run. I've read some of Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
Oh
Ultimate
man,
Spider-Man. That was a pretty good run. I read some of the early issues. I got like maybe 10, 15 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man.
it was fun. It was such a fun title, which is why I don't understand. Like he just did not get Superman. And
Yeah.
why DC gave him both titles. Like they could have given him just one title, and I could have said, all right, I'm not going to buy that one. I'll go read this one. But his Superman and his Action Comics was, man, it was terrible.
Yeah.
His Action Comics run was better than his Superman run, but that was that was the last time I got out of comics. I mean, I was still
I tried to
buying, but
give
it was,
Bendis' Superman run a shot.
I
I
know you
think I
did.
give it three or
I was
four
gonna.
issues, and I just couldn't buy anymore.
Well, I think you even talked about in a video given like a 10 issue gap where you weren't buying, and then you tried to give him another
Yeah,
shot, and you read it. It's
I just like,
uh,
nah, man, this ain't it.
no, dude, it really wasn't. And there's some Bendis defenders on Superman, but I just man alive,
Yeah,
it was terrible.
I couldn't deal with it. I
That
heard the
was
new run they're doing is pretty good, but I haven't got back into it yet.
Williamson's run on Superman's pretty good. I have like 6 issues. I had to stop buying moderns.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I've
too
like,
expensive with me buying so many back issues right now.
yeah. I was saying this, I think in last week's chat too. The last new book I bought, I think was in 2021. It was the Superman 78 series, the one that was like spun off Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, yeah.
Those were like the last new books I bought. And ever since then, it's just been focusing on the 90s and older.
I did pick up two modern releases or two recent actually three. I got Transformers #1 um from Image.
Yeah.
I got the Wonder Woman 1 facsimile. At some point I'll
Oh,
buy
nice.
#1.
The
Yeah, the George Perez.
yeah, George Perez.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. And
Yeah,
then I
I
got
loved his Wonder Woman run.
yeah. And then I got the issue of Action Comics that Seeking Superman, where Philip Kennedy Johnson
Oh yeah.
put a character of him in there. So I wanted to pick that one up, and I just happened to find it at the comic book store I hit up. I got to drive an hour to go to it,
I
but
was
it was
gonna
one
buy
of
that,
their.
but my shop didn't have any. It's like he only gets books that you put on like your pull list now, and I just don't bother with that.
Dude, but I
But I
mean it's
believe that
tough.
was issue 1057, right?
Something like that, yeah. It's kind of a white cover with a whole bunch of characters on it, and whatnot. Yes, Image is doing Transformers now, and it is tied in with GI Joe. They're calling it the Energon universe. I can't believe you did not know that, because when Void Rivals #1 came out, that was like all over Instagram. Everybody was talking about how it was kind of a like they kind of surprised on everybody with that. But
That sounds
yes,
like it would be really good. The
I
Transformers.
I hope so, because I did not like a lot of the IDW Transformer takes. So I
That's,
I bought it. I read a few of the early ones when they first got the license, and then they kind of reset everything and started it up again. And so I have like 10, 15 issues of that. But I don't know, just too much standing
yeah, I
around
love
and
like
not enough war between the Autobots and Decepticons.
I loved like the Transformer series and the TMNT series from the late 80s, early 90s, but I just never followed those over into the comics. It's like
Oh, I got you.
yeah, I was like started like DC is what hooked me with Superman, and then I like fell into Batman, and then I didn't get into like Marvel comics until I started watching like the X-Men animated series and the Spider-Man animated series, and that's what hooked me on Marvel. But I never like other than like Spawn and Witchblade and Gen 13, I just always stuck with Marvel and DC. I never of course I think Transformers at the time was Marvel,
Yeah, it
but I
was a
just never
Marvel.
got into those comics.
Oh man, my I have so many nightmares like collecting regrets. So I was into Image, but it was when Invincible came out and Walking Dead.
Yeah, Invincible, man,
And
it like blew up huge or something, didn't it?
well, luckily I kept the first 13 issues, but
Oh, that's nice.
from issue 14 through whatever 58 or whatever, I gave away to a friend, and then he wound up selling them off. Because I was like, I'm gonna get the hardbacks. Those hardcover books will look so beautiful on my shelf, and like, and then I regret it. Then I got rid of all my early Walking Deads, which when the show came out just
Oh yeah.
blew up so ridiculously that that one hurts. I mean, it's a knife to my heart every time.
Yeah, I just like I didn't read the Walking. I watched the show from the beginning, but I didn't start reading the comic until like last year. And I've got the first two volumes in trade, and I still need to pick up volume 3 because I love the first two.
Yeah, man, it was a good read. I enjoyed
70s
the show.
Batman.
I'm old bottom tier. It's from my childhood in the 70s. I'm not sure what
Oh,
what
okay.
what they were referencing. I can't see the chat.
For some reason, I thought that said Batman for a minute. Then I saw it said bottom tier. I
Oh,
was going to bring up like Neil Adams' Batman, but I don't know if that, I can't remember if that was 70s or 80s when Neil Adams did Batman.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull something up.
Oh, that's all right.
You never hear the end of what? Oh, me giving away comics. That's what she's talking about.
Oh,
We had just gotten married, and so I was trying to make room in the apartment because I had all these
oh yeah.
boxes. And my first thought was, well, let me give stuff away rather than, hey, let me get a storage room, like a small storage room, and store my books and stuff. So yeah, she doesn't hear the end of it.
Okay, it was the 70s. Yeah, I know that's one thing that I regret huge when I had to sell so much of my collection back in
Uh, you
2000.
don't have to relive that story because even I
Yeah,
think it was even bottom tier was talking about it the other day. Your giant size X-Men #1.
yeah.
We're in a little group chat, and I want to say he mentioned that. Uh,
That's
oh,
like
that's terrible that
the
they
only
took
one I'll
advantage of you
probably
like
never
that.
get back. Yeah.
Yeah, and get the facsimile and just
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got the facsimile.
I was gonna say just beat it up a
Yeah.
little bit and pretend it's
Yeah.
the original. Russ,
But
you
yeah,
have like such
yeah.
great stories because like that giant size X-Men, like I can relate to that. Like not that I got taken advantage of or that I sold something really cheap, but I gave away stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
then your night that the Hogan joined the NWO story, like, oh
Oh
man, I
God,
love that.
yeah.
I love
That
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 story so
crushed
much.
me. That crushed me so much, man. I tore up my Hulkamania shirt and threw
Yeah.
it in the trash. I was devastated. And
Oh
it's crazy
man,
because I was like 16, I think, when that went down, but I was still like so dead
it was
into
still
it and
it
convinced
was
it was
still real to you, man. It was,
100%.
it's
Yeah.
still real to you.
Like even WWF at the time, I was like so convinced the Undertaker was like had supernatural powers in real life. I
Oh
was just
man.
100% like taken by it.
Man, but it's so awesome. Like I wish I could be that kind of fan.
Yeah.
Even like especially nowadays, like I'm so like cynical about so much stuff. And like you've already seen every wrestling storyline or every comic book storyline play out. And it's like, oh well, like nowadays, like I'll read a comic and or like you'll read the news about comics and there'll be like some like really character changing event that happens to them and you're like, oh, that doesn't stay true to the character. And I mean it always reverts back to the status quo.
Yeah. Everything now just seems like it's like rehashed because like all the like to me all the good stories have been told. It's hard I think to come up with like a new like arc or something.
I
And
think that
I would love to see it like go back to like 90s type stories.
I think there's a lot going against the modern comic writer because now everything is about how can we get this storyline into the trade. Let's just
Yeah.
let's put it together a 6 or 5 issue story, and then we're gonna go put it in the trade. Whereas back in the day, one issue would be your trade. There was so much that happened in the older books. That's another thing I've noticed about reading these older books. It takes me a lot longer to read these comics than it
Yeah.
does the moderns. The moderns you could read in 5 minutes and you feel unfulfilled. You didn't get your money's
There's
worth.
a lot of story in like the older books, man.
Yeah, and so
I still like I miss those days though when Superman had like four titles and each
oh
of them
man.
like continued like the same story throughout those issues. Like the
So there's
triangle
a
number thing, man. I love that era.
there's a group on Facebook just dedicated to the triangle error, and what a lot
Really?
of times what they talk about is the supporting characters got so much love in those stories, and because like you said, it was almost a weekly book because there was 4 titles going on at the same time,
Yeah.
and Lady Prime talking trash in the chat. And but one of the things everybody loved is because it felt like a soap opera that all the
Yeah.
background characters had stories and they were going on at the same time, and the Metropolis felt like a real place. You went in it, and through just each different writer could focus on certain aspects of the city. And so it's different nowadays. And then
Yeah.
another problem with it nowadays is writers are self-inserting themselves into their stories, and the stories don't stick true to the comic characters or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of us. I'm gonna go ahead and put myself with the old timers who've been in, reading comics for at least 30 years now. With like, we feel like we can't relate to these characters that we fell in love with anymore.
One thing that I started hating, like from 2018 to 2020 or 2021, when I was getting new books, it was like the constant reboots of number one. They would go back to legacy numbering for a little bit, and then they would just drop whatever story and just reboot it again. And like, I don't know how many times like Amazing Spider-Man restarted, Thor, like all those like Marvel issues I was like actually like trying to get into again, and they were just constantly rebooting them and like
it's so
number
hard if
ones. I
you're
was just like, stick to the legacy numbering and continue the story.
it's so hard if you're trying to go back and buy back issues. You're like, okay, I've got number 4 of Amazing Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
like which series it from? It's like it doesn't
It's
follow when you
like
try to read it.
within
But
like a 3 year period, they had like 14 new volumes. It's like, come on, dude.
you got to put yourself in the companies in their
Yeah,
place, in their shoes, because comics don't sell the way they do, and number ones sell a lot, so they're going to try to
yeah.
put out as many number ones as they can. And
But then,
I
then
mean,
they come out with like
I don't agree with it, but
32 different variants for each number one issue, and like every
it's
week there was a new number one again. Like, my
there's a
God, man.
there's another thing, the variant covers. You got to put yourself in their shoes. They can't sell comic books the way they did, and so they're banking on that one, or they're banking on those guys that have to have every version of that book
Yeah.
to to buy them all, so that they can make their
Oh
money,
yeah.
I
For me,
guess.
I would just go for like I would try to find the cover I like the best and like go for that. But then like my shop owner marked up every single variant no matter what. You
And now
could never get anything cover price.
you got to
So
put yourself in
I
the
was just
place of
like,
the comic shop
I'm
owner,
done,
because
dude.
it's so hard to run a comic shop. Like, that's
Yeah,
why they're
I know,
closing
but
left and
yeah.
right. And so,
This guy
and
though, he would just like, and if you had a pull list with him, if a book had spec,
he's gonna pull it out
somehow
of
he
that
didn't
box.
get it. Yeah, but then a week
Yeah,
later you would see it on the wall for some ridiculous flipper price. And you like, if you enjoyed the story, you couldn't. I can't tell you how many times with like when I was collecting Thor, how many times I had to wait for the second or third print, even though it was on my pull list. And I got so fed up with that, man.
but that was your only shop that you could go to, right?
Yeah, that was selling new
So,
books.
and he knew
Yeah.
it. You were at the
So I
mercy of
was just
him.
like, I'm
Yeah,
done, dude. I'm just cutting out because I mean, I was only getting maybe 3 or 4 new books a month.
I got you.
So
Yeah,
it didn't hurt me at all to like just drop them all and focus on the older stuff. I wasn't one of those guys that had like a $200 pull list. I was maybe spending $20 a month on new books. So that didn't hurt me at all to just drop the
yeah.
3 or 4
Just
titles that I was getting.
quit cold
Yeah.
turkey and go back to what you know. Yeah. Oh man. So 40 minutes in, I think I answered your first question. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's what this
Uh,
show is, just to like talk about the characters and books we love, man. And like I originally intended to like start it off as an interview show where I would like have a list of like 10 questions or something, and that very quickly just like went
deteriorated
away.
into a
Yeah,
chat, huh? Ah,
yeah.
dude.
And that's the way I like it, man. Just the off the cuff, nothing like planned.
Well,
Just
that's how
like
you
throw
can
out a
get.
random question here and there, but like just keep it casual.
That's how you get JoJo on here and talk for 4 hours.
Yeah, for real. And yeah, Ryan, Magic Lasso, he went for almost 3.5, I think.
Well, yeah. I was looking at some of the times on. I was like, the last ones. I was like, okay, there's an hour and a half one. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I could give you 3 or 4 hours worth of
Oh no,
content.
it's like whenever you get tired, man, just give me like the cut it signal, and I'll wrap it up.
Oh man, that's cool, dude.
24-hour
Yeah.
live stream, let's go.
Nah, man. When you announced that you were gonna do something like that, I was like, dude, I'm game. Just let me know when. And it just when you asked a couple of weeks ago, I was like, well, I happen to be on vacation here shortly. Let's just put it together that week.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, has
I'm
it always
trying to do it at least once a week.
right? So just keep it going. Has
Yeah.
it always been on Mondays?
No, I did a couple episodes on Tuesday because
Okay,
like a holiday, and then one Monday last month I think where I went to Monday Night Raw, so I had to do that show on a Tuesday.
there we go. Okay,
And
because I was like,
I think
I
I
don't remember
did.
being on Mondays.
Yeah, I did. Ron Magic Lasso had to do a Saturday show for him, so I can
Okay,
like switch up days and stuff.
gotcha, gotcha. Well, I was like, because I was
Uh,
trying to think. Just normally I work on Mondays, but it's like I'm able to catch some of the stuff because sometimes I'm asleep and sometimes like just my schedule's terrible right
yeah,
now. But like on Mondays, I gotta wake up later to like I'll go to sleep, but I gotta wake up to go pick up people, and so I was like, man, sometimes I would catch it, but sometimes I wouldn't, so I wasn't sure
yeah,
how it went down.
yeah. I'm a no lifer. I don't have a wife or kids, so I can pretty much go live anytime I want to. So I can work around other people's schedules and stuff pretty easily.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
especially
that's
now,
no life.
like Wednesday show with Simon Simply Super. That's on a kind of indefinite thing because he got a new job work schedule. So
Yeah, bottom tier mentioned that. Like I said, him and I communicate quite often on Instagram, and he was like, "It's the last episode of Simply Super," and I'm like, "What? Why did they stop it? Thought you
yeah,
guys had beef with one another."
no, no, he got a new job that has a different schedule. So it's going to be like very sparingly whenever we can do an episode now.
It'll be more of an event then.
Yeah, so I can pretty much do like this show pretty much like on any day.
Gotcha.
I think Brian LCS is scheduled for the 30th, I believe. So he'll be on.
Were you his first guest on his 411?
Yeah,
I thought so.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
I was looking, went back when I got invited on, and I was like, "Well, it looks like Russ was the first guest. That's pretty cool."
So I definitely wanted to get him on this show at some point to put him in the hot seat for a minute.
I felt like when I talked with Brian, I was like I couldn't shut up. I
Yeah.
told him, Brian, this is gonna be the longest episode ever. But
Anytime like we're talking like especially the older school comics, man, I can talk all day.
oh man,
So many memories from that era, man, that I love. But
dude, to be a kid again, dude, and to be like I said, we would go to my grandma's house and walk to the comic book store during the reign of Superman. So like the death of Superman, like I always talk about the death of Superman, like, and that's one of the big parts of my collection. But it was technically it's the reign of the Superman that like that's the storyline where we were walking to
yeah,
the comic book store weekly, and I want to say there was one fifth Wednesday during that time, and like we didn't know what to do with ourselves when we didn't have the new Superman issue to read or
yeah.
whatever day it was. I don't know. Was it always Wednesday? I'm not sure, but we knew
Uh,
what day to go
uh,
when the new books were on the
yeah, I
wall.
think it was Wednesday.
Was it okay?
Like I remember, like the Reign of Superman, like that's where I started, and like every week I would stop in at that gas station and spend that day's lunch money on the new Superman comic, and that's how I would get them back in the day.
It's so awesome that you bought yours from a gas station and you were able to keep up.
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
thankful they like had the issues like after. The only one I missed was I think what was the issue? It was Man of Steel 25, like where
hold on.
the
Is that
original
the
first like came back.
okay,
The
let's
one with
see.
the
Is that
close up of the face, the real
oh,
Steel
okay,
deal.
got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't find
I
that
was trying to
issue.
picture in my head which cover that
Yeah,
was.
for some reason, like I don't know if it was just because that was the issue where like the original came back, but it was like maybe a year or two later before I finally found that issue in like a dollar bins at the flea market to be able to complete that collection. So it was probably like 95 when I
Man,
finally found that issue.
you were still reading when the blue suit came, right? The electric, or his. Is it
Yeah,
Electrical Powers or whatever it was?
yeah. I think it came out in '97, so I would have been 17 then. So
Man.
I dug the blue suit in.
Oh
I
yeah, I
thought it
think
was
it's
pretty
cool.
cool.
I think anytime that
I've still got that
they
glow in the dark cover.
yes. Oh man, there's a white version of that cover. I think it's a German.
Oh no, I saw that. I think
Yep.
Iconics
Iconic
posted it on
ones, dude.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yes. The second I
I
saw that
didn't
cover, I
even
was
know
like,
that existed until he posted it, and I was like,
yeah, it's beautiful. Like I wish I could get
yeah,
my hands on
yeah.
a
Then I
copy
looked
of
it up,
that.
and I was like, well, I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they did like a homage cover with Mixopiddlet.
There's that one, yes, and then there is I think that's the New Year's Evil story or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's also what was her name? Strange Visitor or whatever. There's a cover where it kind of done the same way.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
I've seen that cover, but I don't have that issue.
I don't fully know what's going on there with Strange Visitor or whatnot. I That's kind of when I was out. So, but I've got it in the collection when I finally do my triangle number read through.
Yeah. The last new issue I got was I think it was called Superman Forever. It was a one shot where he came
Oh,
back to the
that's
original costume and powers.
yeah, yeah.
And that was the last issue I bought until 2015 when I got back into it.
Which one did you get? The moving cover or
Yeah, I
the
got
just
the
this?
lenticular cover.
Okay. I like the
I need to replace that because it's so scratched up because I
yeah,
read that
dude.
book to death, man.
I've noticed this. Like I had it, and when I first got it, it looked nice, but it's like over the course of time, like I can barely see the image on it.
Yeah.
But I got the standard edition just with the Alex Ross piece on it. Man, it's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
cover.
I got that in an AOK last year, I believe. So I got the standard edition too. But I need to upgrade that lenticular cover. I don't think it's a lot of money. I just haven't got around to looking it up yet. I
Gotcha.
think I can probably get it for like 15 bucks maybe.
You want to see one of the rarest DC Universe logo variants?
Oh heck yeah, man.
So I didn't believe in Ghost until I actually held one in my hand.
Yeah.
So this is Adventures of Superman 523.
Oh
Let's see.
yeah.
So like you've probably seen that cover, but having that DC Universe logo makes it one of the
Yeah.
rarest ones.
Yeah.
So like
I've
there's a
got that
guy,
issue, but just not the DC logo.
right? So there's this guy on I think it's a CGC message board that deals with the DC Universe logos, and he's like willing to pay $400 for this issue.
Oh my god, man. Couldn't imagine. Isn't that from the Death of Clark Kent story that led up to like
Yes,
Superman 100? I thought so. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's something
Yeah,
I
I've got
recently
that
picked
issue.
up.
Just I think I've got the direct. I can't remember if I have the direct or the newsstand, but I think I've only got two or three DC logo variants. I've got a
Yeah, they
Justice
got.
League and a Superman, and I think one of the Zero Hour books I have.
I think I remember you mentioning that when you went through your Superman collection, like saying
Yeah,
something that. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't even
So
know I
well,
had it at first. It was I think it was Tim, the comic collector, that pointed it out. I had to go back and look, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even realize.
so I wound up with that book on accident.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, I got it off of eBay auction. So, so the way I do, like, if I'm gonna bid on eBay, if I'm gonna do an auction, I only bid at the last second. Just snipe. Like, I
Yeah.
won't put. I'll watch it. There, I don't see any sense in 6 days out putting a bid in there,
Oh yeah. That's what I try
letting
to
people
do. Yeah.
know that hey, somebody's interested in this because it's just gonna raise from there to the last second. I didn't know, or I had paid a bill earlier that day. Like when you put your money in to pay a bill, sometimes you
Yeah.
don't have to put the decimal point. Sometimes you do. Well, for that auction that came with that book, there's like 14 books in that auction or something like that. I can't remember. It's a bunch of DC Universe logo variants or whatever. All I wanted was the Adventures of Superman 499, which is. Do I
Oh
have it
yeah,
here?
the funeral for a friend.
Yes, the statue, right?
Yeah.
All I wanted was this book. And so I put my bid in. Like I said, I can't remember how many books it was. Put my bid in. I forgot the decimal point.
Ooh,
I would have lost that auction had I put the decimal point in.
yeah,
So
that sounds
I'm not
dangerous.
I'm not telling you how much I bid, and I'm not telling you how much I paid. I'm not telling you how much I won the auction for. But I'll say this: if I only put in $100, like that was going to be my max bid, the bid was actually 10,000 because I forgot a decimal point.
Oh my God. I would have had a full-on panic attack.
Well, so I'm like, when I saw what the auction went for, what it finally ended for, I was like, oh, well, I didn't win that one. I was like, man, that's way out of my price range.
Yeah.
So I put the phone down and I went back to it. And when I opened it up, because I was like, well, let me go check. Let me go check for this other auction. I see the you won this auction, pay now. Freaking heart sank, dude. Because
Oh man.
yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't contact the seller and be like, hey, look, I accidentally bid this much because he got that sell. How is he going to convince the guy below me, like, hey, look, it went for this much, the guy doesn't want it, whatever. So I
Yeah.
paid for it. I paid for it way more than I wanted. One day I'm going to tell this full story. The reason I'm not going to tell the full story is because I haven't told Lady Prime yet. But
Oh.
one day, one day I will tell the full story. But yeah.
Uh-oh.
No, you don't have to give me a B-Day gift.
Do you need a safe place to stay tonight, man?
I might.
It's
I
probably
might.
a long trip, but my couch is
Oh
open if
man,
you need it,
alive.
bro.
I'll tell you this. So our birthdays are back to back. Mine's the 28th of October. Hers is the 29th of October.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I told her because her Halloween's also her favorite holiday. I told her we needed to get married October 30th. That way, I would never forget our anniversary. It would be my birthday, her birthday, our anniversary, and then Halloween. It didn't happen though. It didn't happen. We waited
Uh,
till January 3rd to get married, but it would have been pretty good.
just wrap it all up in one
That's
little
right.
holiday.
Just vacations would have been perfect to take because then it was like we could just get everything done at once and yeah. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah, some of those DC logos they go for like I was looking at the DC Universe logo for the first Doomsday, and that was just like kind of ridiculous.
I think the lowest I've seen for on eBay lately, $70 was the lowest I saw, or maybe Macari, one of the two. That's
Oh
a
yeah.
book I picked up for $35 at Most Wanted
Oh,
Comics
nice.
in Corpus Christi, Texas. Yes. The second I saw that it was that much, I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
leaving with this. I'm leaving
I
with
know
this.
I came this close to getting the Emerald Twilight story with DC Universe logos on eBay, and come to find out that John's Comics with Kids is the one that sniped me on that deal, and he got the books, and I was like, man,
That's
I
funny.
was like, I could have had them so cheap, man.
I own. I know that technically the first Kyle Rayner is not part of Emerald Twilight because I think the storyline's over, but unofficially it counts with it. I've got three
Yeah.
of the four. There's one of them I don't have in the DC Universe logo, and I'm gonna have to try to get that
Uh,
one day. I can't remember which one it is.
yeah, I've got them all now, but I don't have any of the DC logo ones.
Right, right.
But that was such a good storyline. That was another one, like right around the era where I got into collecting it, because the very first Green Lantern book I read was the
Reign of
crossover
Superman.
with the Reign of Superman,
I think it's
and
46.
yeah, issue
Yeah.
46 right there on the wall. And after I read that, I was like, I picked up issue 47, and I read that, and like back in the day, I had those issues, but that was like part of the stuff I sold. Luckily, I have those back now. It was actually Tim the Comic Collector that AOK'd me issue 48,
Sweet.
and then I
That's
ended
cool
up
that you could
picking up
remember
like
that.
49, and I issue 50 and 51 like complete that. But that was such a good story. But it was so crazy. Like when I got into collecting, Superman was dead. It wasn't long before Hal Jordan flipped out and became a murderer. Batman got his back broken. And
There's
it's
so much
like,
that
dude,
happens
it's
during
such a
that time
crazy
period.
time to get into that, get into comics.
Even Green Arrow was killed and replaced.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I remember they came out with like an alternate era, and
it's
Aquaman like had his head cut off. Yeah,
DC wasn't afraid to take chances. It's a
for
pretty
real.
cool time period. And man, and then the chance they took, like so many people loved it. Like so many hated when Hal Jordan came back to and they got rid of Kyle Rayner. Like I hated
Yeah,
when Barry Allen came back because Wally West was my Flash.
yeah. I didn't know about Barry Allen until I started reading the older Flash books because when I got into it, Wally West was the Flash.
was the Flash,
And
yeah.
it wasn't until I started going back and getting some of the older Flash books where I discovered Barry Allen.
I always thought the Flash was a silly character. I didn't get it. And then I read some Jeff Johns Flash and it was so good. I
Oh
went
yeah,
back and bought every issue that Jeff Johns wrote of the Flash. So I like I tell you, I get I get on these collecting
Jeff
things like
Johns, man, he was
addicted to
like
it. Oh
he
man, it's
did
my
so
favorite
good
writer.
on that and like Green Lantern.
Yep. The
But yeah,
knock on him is that he'll go back and he'll retcon a lot of stuff. That's what a lot of people don't like, that he'll retcon stuff. But
yeah,
I'm all for it. If you retcon it to where it makes more sense to me, like I'm fine with it.
yeah. But
Just
Kyle
make it
Rayner, yeah, he was like my Green Lantern because I had only read like 3 or 4 issues with Hal Jordan,
right.
and then I just continued with Kyle Rayner, and he just became like my favorite. It
And
wasn't
then
until God, it probably wasn't until I got back into it in 2015 where I went back and I read a bunch of the older Green Lantern stuff with Hal that I started liking Hal Jordan. But Kyle's still my favorite.
well, see, and then that's what people were worried about, is that when they brought Hal back, that Kyle was going to kind of get lost in the shuffle, and I fully believe he did. And but you have
Yeah,
those diehard Kyle fans that will still support and buy everything he has. There was a
yeah. I
recent
like. I don't know what they've done with Kyle since then because I haven't really read any of the newer stuff.
I know he had a title during New 52. It was like the New Guardians or whatever, but that's about
Yeah.
it. There was a recent Kyle Rayner uh McFarlane Toys uh, figure that came out. Man, I was like so
Oh
tempted to
yeah,
buy it just
man.
because it was so cool looking.
They had a gold label one that
Yes, yeah, that's the one I saw.
I think it was a Target exclusive,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
could never find that. I got the Funko Pop, the Target exclusive Funko Pop, but I couldn't find that Target exclusive Kyle Reiner.
Did you ever find the Nightfall Batman? I know that was
No,
something both you and I were looking. I never found that
yeah,
one either.
it's crazy. I wanted that so bad because I love that version of Batman. And every day from day one, it was supposed to come out. We got 2 Walmarts, one in like Gastonia and one in Belmont. That's both like 10 minutes away in either direction. Like every day, I was going there for like the first 2 months, and
And
I just
nothing.
finally gave up.
Oh man, like
Yeah,
I hate the Walmarts that I have available to me because they'll update their toy section, but they never get any new Transformers. It's like
yeah,
whatever wave one came out, they never put the next wave out. And so it's like I'm trying to complete this combiner. I just need I just need one of them. But that wave never hit in my local spots. And so like I'm gonna have to go
yeah.
on eBay and overpay for it. And it's like,
I hate that. I looked on eBay for that Nightfall figure, the John Paul Valley
yeah,
one, and couldn't
everybody
I
jacked up the
couldn't bring
price.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping one day it goes down, but it probably won't.
Or at least just release another, when because they always
Yeah,
release
just
another
do
version, a
like
gold,
another
they'll put
version.
put a gold label on it or something, but don't make it an
Yeah.
exclusive. And yeah,
I know every time they come out with a new figure that I see a photo of it and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And I see the word exclusive. I'm like, I'm never going to get that.
yeah.
I've never scored. Well, I can't say never because I did get lucky with the gold label Eradicator at Walmart.
Oh man, that's a nice toy you got.
Yeah, but that's the only one I've gotten lucky with. I haven't seen any others.
See, I've never seen that one in hand.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if they ever came out. Have they come out with the McFarlane Cyborg? I haven't like seen one. I heard about one.
if
I
they
know they
have,
came out with
I
the Superboy one, but I never saw that in store either.
yeah, I've seen the Superboy one. That's not my favorite take on Superboy. My favorite take on
Yeah, I
Superboy
wish
is
they would have
the
did
black shirt,
the one. Yeah.
the Young
Oh,
Justice one. Yeah, I like that Superboy.
yeah. The one they did was like it looked like it was from the Reign of Superman, but it had like shoulder spikes on them, and it didn't have the
Yeah,
yellow S on the back of the coat. They had like a full color one. It's
that's
like
the
so. I was hoping
Bendis
they
Young
would do like
Justice.
yeah. I was hoping they would do an old school Reign of Superman one.
They are
So
going to do a 30th anniversary Return of Superman stuff, so there will
yeah,
be
I heard that. Yeah,
yeah.
I I
So
think
there's
it's
going to be
coming
some
out in November.
homages. So you know those the ones with the cutout where it has the Superman symbol, like when you open it, you can see.
Yeah,
Like I take those off and create my own custom Virgin variant, whatever.
yeah. I
I
still
saw
haven't
some.
done that, and I've got like three. I've got like three sets of those books, and I just can't bring myself to take any of the covers off to do
So
that.
I saw somebody do it on Instagram. I wish I could remember the guy so I could give him credit. And the second I saw he did that, I was like, oh, I've got to go do that because they're dollar books,
Yeah,
sometimes 50-cent books. But some of the ones they're going to release are kind of like covers that pay homage to that. So I'm looking forward
yeah,
to. It's a complete cash cow, but
yeah.
I still think it's cool. I'll check it out.
I know. I got. I just got one copy of the Death of Superman 30th anniversary.
I got
Well, I
two,
wanted
I
the black
think.
bag, but I didn't get it.
I got a black bag. I don't
Yeah.
like it because they have an insert in there that makes it not fit in a bag and board.
Oh,
Like I'm
really?
gonna have to bend something. I don't know why they did that other than to keep the book looking good, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I got it's a Bettina Doomsday. I think it's a 1 in 25 ratio. I told myself I wasn't gonna do it, and I went and got it anyways, and
Yeah. I
hated
got.
myself for it.
I think it's the regular A cover that I got. Uh, Magic Lasso Ryan, he sent it to me because I couldn't get that in my area, and that was like the cover that had like the fold out that
Yeah,
had like the Doomsday shots and the stuff, and that was the one I liked the most. But then they came out with like a full version of that that was like ridiculous money. And I'm like, man, I'll just stick with the one.
because they
I'm probably
know.
only going to get like try to pick one cover of the return because I think it's just a one shot book, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
So
I
I
don't know.
just got to like find
I
the
don't
right
follow
cover that I
closely
want.
enough. Yeah, I don't follow closely enough. I should, but I just know I heard about this release and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I gotta.
Yeah. There's so many like they come out with like so many full covers, and I love like the full gimmick, but I never gave in and like bought any.
Oh, like
I
with Tim
almost
and
like yeah, I know
Tim
they
and
got like a
Comic
ton
Fu,
of
they got
them.
all those Green Lantern ones
Yeah,
where it's the the Red Lantern Corps, the Sinestro
yeah.
Corps. They got all those, and I'm like, ah,
So
those are so
I just like live
beautiful. But
vicariously through their
yes,
videos.
exactly,
It's like
exactly.
I almost bought Superman 1 that was just the blue foil cover with the red S.
hmm That was
It
beautiful.
was
Like I
but it
big
sold
time
out on the
collectibles, I
website.
think.
Yeah. Yep, big time. It sold out on the website before I could get it, and it was like $150. I'm just, dude, that's
Like
ridiculous. I can't do that.
I know what you. I
Like
felt
I
that
was
pain,
having a
dude.
hard time justifying spending $30.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way I'm gonna, pay the flipper prices for it.
And then like anytime Iconic Ones post something with his 9.8s, I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, like
it's like I'll just like live vicariously through the post and the other videos. I can't like let myself get into the full cover buys.
man, I feel you. Yeah. Comic Fu has every Green Lantern and Superman
Oh
comic
yeah.
ever it seems.
That's crazy, man. Like Comic Fu was posting like Death of Superman, like
well,
foreign issues that I didn't even know existed.
see, Comic Fu, like I brought to his attention some of the trades that were in sets, and he messaged me. He's like, "Is this the one? Is this one of the ones you're talking about?" I was like, "Yes, that's the set that comes with the second print of Superman '82."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, let the best man win." I was like, "No, it's fine. Go ahead. Like you found that.
I don't
Go ahead and get it." But that auction went to like $150, and but I said that I was like, "Man, look how much it went for." But he never told me if he won that one because he's shown that set. I think he paid that much for it. I
yeah.
just don't think
If
he
I
wants to
have,
admit
man,
it.
it's like I've got these trades that connect with the symbol on the side and make the whole symbol.
Yes.
But I've just got the two ends for it, so I still need to try to find the I think it's the funeral, the rain, and the return. So I'm missing like three issues in this like set.
So you could display it on your shelf and make it look
Yeah,
pretty cool
and
connected.
read it again, man, because like I'm not gonna get these single issues down to read them, so I need to
I
get the trades to reread them again.
I want to see that video when you do read it by single issues and you record yourself getting them
Like just
down.
take each issue down off the
Yeah,
wall.
well, one at a time. Like I'm gonna read this one today. Um, so there was a picture on Instagram I saw. It's the Nightmare on Elm Street, the VHS sets. So when you do them on the
Oh
side,
yeah,
you put together the image of Freddy with his arms outstretched. Well, someone replaced whichever movie takes place in the middle. They took that one out and replaced it with Goldberg, and it kind of lines up correctly. Goldberg standing there with Freddy arms stretched out. I thought it was a cool image.
and real
Ah,
quick, like Comic Fu, he a-okayed this one to me.
I
It's
have that somewhere.
the German
The
edition.
German, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he sent me one too. When
yeah.
I
I
saw the
kept it.
video,
I decided to keep it sealed.
yeah, same here.
Yeah, but
Maybe it's
that's
here.
awesome. Just to have like stuff I didn't know existed like that.
He um he messaged me, said, "Hey, I got something for you." So I give him my address and everything. When I saw that video that he talked about how he got 20 or 30 of those
Yeah,
for because it was the same price as like getting one. I was like, I
yeah,
bet
that
he
was
sent me
wild,
one of
man. He just
those.
like he did the video and he's like, I didn't get one. I didn't just get two or three. He had like
Yeah.
a whole stack of. Like, dang, man, you went hardcore.
But he said it was like just about the same price if he would have just got
Yeah.
one or whatever it was to get that. And I was like, I don't figure how that would
Oh
be
yeah,
the
you might
case,
as
but
well. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
why
if
wouldn't you
you
take
get
advantage
that
of
kind
that?
of deal,
Yeah.
just be like handing them out on Halloween. Throw a
Bob Chair
trade
wants that Death of
paperback in the
Superman
bag.
omnibus.
Oh yeah, that's like I, I've only got one omnibus because I found it at like a discount store called Ollie's for $20.
Oh
But if
man, I
I
love
ever get
Ollie's.
another one, I'm definitely getting that Death of Superman omnibus.
What
That's
omnibus
on
do
my
you have?
list. I got the Guardians of the Galaxy solo stories.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I
Man
saw it for
alive, look at the
$20 and
size
it
of that.
retails for 125. So I'm like, how,
You can't walk away from something like that.
yeah. And
That's
this
cool.
like made me like fall in love with the Guardians of the Galaxy, man, because it was like all their like single issues and stories and first appearances of each character is in here, so I could like
That's
read
sweet.
everything. So that
And then
book
I
like
saw
made
that
me
you
really like the Guardians.
saw that you put a post out or you were talking about that you beat that video game, right?
Oh yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Yeah, got the
I've never
platinum on
tried.
it.
I'm gonna have to get that
Oh, it's so
because you
good,
said it was
man. I think
one of the best comic story video games
yeah.
ever, right? You were
Oh, it's
saying.
so good. I don't know how that game flew under the radar so much, but it. I hope it gets a sequel one day, man, because they did that right in
All the
every
focus was on
aspect. Yeah,
that Avengers game. I think all the focus was there instead of on
yeah.
that one.
Everybody
And
was
what's
so
funny,
disappointed with that they kind of passed on the Guardians game, but they did that. They did that right with every aspect.
well, where I work, we have this one guy who's like really, really into video games, and he recommended that game to me at the time. He's like, "Get that Guardians game; it's really good." And
Yeah,
I just didn't pick it up. I had other stuff going on, and
I'm
I'm
pretty.
stuck
You
on it.
got
I'm
PlayStation
stuck.
Plus, right?
Yes.
That game. That's one of the free games you can play on
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah,
Well, heck, I better go do that before they take it off or whatever.
but
That's
the
sweet.
physical copy is only like $20 now.
Yeah. See, I think he told me around it was during one of the Black Fridays or something like that, and I just didn't get it. I had other stuff or
Yeah,
other expenses at the time, but when you talked about it, I was like, man, I got to check it out. So
But yeah, that's one of the free games on PS Plus, like the collection. It's awesome,
sorry.
man. The story is so good.
Oh man, I've never played any of the Batman games. Well, I
Oh,
say I
really?
never played any. I'm halfway through Batman Arkham Asylum. Well, I was at one point on my PS3, and then I
Oh,
had
yeah.
to I had to completely reboot my PS3, like take all the game saves off of it.
Oh,
So yeah, so I owned Arkham City. I bought it with the full intention of playing it on the PS3. We're now on the PS5, so I'm
yeah.
not sure that I'll ever pay that game on the PS3. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah, because they got like the remastered collection for like $6 or
ye-
$7 now.
yeah, so I bought that on the PS5
Yeah.
now. So hopefully I'll play those one day. It's
I've
like a
got
time thing. Just don't
yeah,
have
I've
time.
got it on PS4, the digital versions.
Nice.
But I've it's been a couple years since I played them, but I did go through and play them all back when they came out.
Well, I know you were replaying some of the Assassin's Creeds, so I went and bought one of those
Yeah.
based upon you playing it. I
I
think I
know the
have it
new one
here.
just came out. Mirage came out a few days ago, but it'll probably be a while before I play that one because I just like the new game prices are insane.
What, you don't like paying $70 for a
Yeah,
game?
that's ridiculous. Like I want to get Spider-Man 2 when it comes out, but there's just no way, man. Seventy
What
dollars is just insane.
what can oh, Mortal Kombat. So I have a friend at work who's talking about games and he's talking about Mortal Kombat. I was like, "Oh, dude, I'll check it out." So
Oh yeah,
$70. I was like, I can't do it yet."
I saw Perry play that, so I'll just stick to watching his gameplay. There's so many games that
Oh,
come out at like one time. It's crazy.
that got to be watched too. Okay. Yeah, and like so I can't do video games like I did when I was a kid and you had
Oh
20
yeah,
NES
yeah.
cartridges and you just swap them out and play them. Like now I'm like one game and I play it for months. So like Elden Ring, I'm still
Oh
playing
yeah,
that game. Oh
yeah. I
man.
go back and I like go back every now and again and replay some of my older games while I'm waiting on like new games to go on sale.
Well, like I bought the new Zelda, whatever it is, Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
I started it, but it's just I've got to be in a certain mood to be able to play games, and it's like I haven't cut into that Zelda mode yet. At
yeah.
some point I will, and then I'll only play that.
I know there's a lot of those I'd like to play, but I just like I can't get another game system, man.
Yeah,
It's like I wish they would come out with just a universal system that had everything.
that'd be perfect, right?
Yeah, for real. Of course, I know you can get like emulators and stuff on PC, but it's like I
That's a
don't even
whole.
have a computer right now.
Oh, your laptop finally went out on you? I remember you would
Yeah,
always
yeah,
talk
yeah. It
about,
died
yeah.
like 2 or 3 months ago, and I've been just
Mm,
using the phone for everything.
got you.
But yeah,
Man.
it'll probably be December or January before I pick the new Spider-Man game up, if it goes on
I'll
sale by then.
probably get that one right away. I
Did you
probably
play
will.
the first one that came out a couple
Yes.
years ago?
Yeah, I did. Well, see, and I
That was
and
awesome.
I bought my PS4 like 4 or 5 years after it had come out, but
Yeah.
it was a Black Friday thing at Walmart, and it came with the Spider-Man game, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
this is
that's
like
awesome.
perfect. Let me get it. Yeah. And so every now and then Ollie will put that game in and play it. He always likes to go to the tallest building he can find and just do a straight drop off of it. And he'll play it a little bit, but he still can't figure out some of the things. And so like I have to get him to the next spot. And okay, now you play, and then he'll take on the
Yeah, I
what's that?
finally got to play the Miles Morales one a couple months ago because it was on PS Plus.
Yeah,
So I
I
got to
own
play
that
that one
one,
just a
but
couple months ago.
I hadn't got into it. I think I started it.
Yeah, it's pretty short. It's like maybe 5 hours if you just run through the main story.
Yeah, I think that's what my White Mojo Wolf had told me. He told me that
Yeah.
it was fun, but it just wasn't.
Yeah,
has some depth.
it's like I feel like it should have been a DLC instead of a its own game because it was only
A
like a
full price
5 hour
game.
playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't even play it until like I finally got PS Plus back. I want to say last July.
Gotcha. How often do you put in Skyrim? It's been a while since I've seen one of your Skyrim videos.
Oh man, actually just I think last month or the month before last, I platinumed the PS5 version.
Oh, nice, nice.
So now I got the platinum on PS3, PS4, and PS5.
That's right. I think I saw you post something about that on Instagram. That's right.
It was last month or the month before, I think.
They have gotten their money out of that game, releasing it
Oh,
on
for
all
real.
these
And
systems.
I think it's crazy. You know, they announced like Elder Scrolls 6 like in 2018 or 2019, and I heard that they just now started development on it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
because they've
why
been
did you
working on
announce it
Starfield.
5 years ago? If you, it's gonna be like 2030 before it. You know they're gonna re-release like Skyrim again on the PS6 before Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Did you ever play Morrowind? It's Elder Scrolls
Nah,
3.
nah, I
Man,
never
so
got a
like
chance to play that.
that was like on the original Xbox, and man,
I've
there's
played a little bit of Oblivion, but I never finished it.
see, I played Skyrim before I played Oblivion, so like
Yeah, I
going
did
back,
too. Yeah,
I was
Skyrim
just
was
like,
like the first. Yeah,
I can't get into
Skyrim
it
was the
now.
first like big RPG that I played,
Well,
and
there's
that kind
years
of
of
like
my
yeah,
there's years of my life missing because I played Morrowind,
really.
and yeah, I loved that game. But it was different because they didn't have voice acting, so you were reading everything. You were reading
Oh yeah,
everything every time you talk to these characters or whatnot. So uh, to me, the game still holds up just because like the lore behind it. It was so much more in depth. Where like a Skyrim, you can have markers and you go find everything. Like then you didn't. You had to search and explore. And I don't know. I guess that's kind of why I like um, Elden Ring. It's more you're exploring again and stuff like that. The game's
yeah.
so hard though, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I never did get it. Like the only like from soft game I've played is just the first Dark Souls.
I'm
So I'm
tempted to
like
go back.
familiar with like the hardness of those games because it took me forever before I finally was able to beat the original Dark Souls, and I
See,
just
that's
haven't
how I
touched
feel
another
like
one of
I'm gonna
those
be on.
games
I'm
since.
gonna be on Elden Scroll for
Yeah,
Elden Ring for I've mixed the two games. I'm gonna be on Elden Ring for years before I finally beat it. I'm
yeah.
we're into year two now, so um,
I
and I
know
have a friend
after like
who plays it all the time, and he's always telling me his updates, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta get back on it.
after I beat Dark Souls, I was so like stressed out. I just haven't touched another one of those. I'm like, I'm going
Oh
back to
man.
easy mode games.
So would you watch a video like how to cheese this guy, how to cheese this guy? Okay, like now I'm gonna go
Oh
take
yeah,
on
yeah.
this class.
There was a couple fights where I had to like watch videos to get the right technique.
Oh man, it's
And
just
I can't. It took so long, man.
like I love the challenge of it, but then at some point it's just like, oh, it's so frustrated that
I'm
okay,
like,
I can't play this
I'm
for a week or two.
43. Yeah, I'm 43 now. I can't have a heart attack playing a video game, dude. I'm going to games that have easy mode. So after Dark Souls, I just went easy mode on everything except for Resident Evil 4, the remake. I played I beat the game in professional difficulty just to unlock like the best bonus weapons. But
How did
other
you
than
feel
that,
about
I'm like straight easy mode.
how did you feel about Resident Evil 4?
Oh man, I love that. They did that remake so good. And then
Man,
the DLC that just came out separate ways. The stuff they left out of the Resident Evil 4 remake, a couple boss fights and like a couple different things, they put in the separate ways DLC. And that was like so refreshing to see a story based DLC that had, 5 to 10 hours of content depending on how much you do for just $10.
man alive. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
So
I
I've already
started
played through that like 4 or 5 times, unlocking the different like weapons and stuff.
I started the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's another game that I started that I just didn't get into.
Yeah.
Like my
Well,
system's
I'm
in the
like,
living room,
yeah,
and I yeah, I can't play video games in front of other people because I get in trouble. Because
uh,
I'll be
you
arguing with the
rage
TV,
mode.
especially when it comes to like sports games. And so, ah man, so there's a lot of things that I've played and haven't played because based upon my
Yeah.
schedule. But
Yeah,
now
I've
it's
been a
like,
huge Resident Evil fan from like the PS1 days from the start. So like
well,
every
yeah,
Resident Evil I try to play.
Resident Evil 2 was the first Resident Evil game I played,
Yeah,
and
I keep hoping they're going to put that on the PS Plus Classic list. 'Cause
man,
they
that
got
was
the original. Why don't they put 2 and 3, man? I need to play those games again. Because Resident Evil 2, the original from the PS1, is still my all-time favorite Resident Evil game.
there were you basically had four versions of that game to play.
Yeah, I
You
love
could
that
play,
so, but it like blew my mind having a game with 2 discs that you could like
yeah,
just
yeah.
put the other disc in and like keep playing.
Because it's
I
like
played that game
you beat it with
so
Leon, and then
many
you play it with
times.
Claire, or if you beat it with Claire, then you play it with Leon. So
Yeah,
man, and so I did all four
yeah. I
versions of that
wish I
game
still
back
had
then.
like I wish I still had the original PS1 game just to like have it in the collection because I played that to death. It's still my favorite.
Hold on, let
So
me see something. Let me see
somebody
something.
tweet this to Sony, man. Put Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis in the PS1 library on the classics list, man. Come on, Sony. Those games were so good.
Man, I thought I had my copy of Resident Evil 2. I got to go find it. I was gonna pull it out.
Yeah. I had those games like back in the day, and then when PlayStation 2 come out, I had to like trade and sell all of the PlayStation 1 games to get a
Oh
PlayStation
man,
2.
brutal.
I never thought, years later that those games would be collectible and like hard
Keep
to get
value with
again.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, who thinks that as a kid or a teenager? I just figured one day maybe I'll get them back.
Resident Evil
But
2 was so good that when I played
yeah,
Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, I hated it. That's
really?
because it was such a short game versus Resident Evil 2,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I like
and,
the choice system and the different because I replayed like I tried to get every single ending in Nemesis to get all the
man,
like
gotcha,
epilogue
gotcha.
stories that they would put at the end. So I replayed the crap out of that too. But Resident Evil 2 is still the favorite.
And you played the remake of that one also,
Yeah.
and you like that one?
Yeah, I like the remake of 2 and the remake of 3 was okay, but they cut so much out. They took out the choice system. They took
Yeah.
out all the alternate costumes you could unlock. They took out the whole clock tower segment and they gutted that game and it was okay for what it was. It was fun, but they just took out so much content.
Mm.
And I think that's why they did so good on Resident Evil 4, the remake, because they knew they screwed up on Resident Evil 3. It's like there's no reason to play the Resident Evil 3 remake again because there's no alternate endings, there's no other stuff to unlock. It's just a one and done.
You played the original Resident Evil 4?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
did you play
Which
it on?
originally, uh, I want to say GameCube, if I
Okay,
remember right.
because that's how it was originally released, was on
Yeah,
GameCube, and I think it eventually made its way to other
that
systems.
was the
But
reason I like
you bought a
saved up and
GameCube?
got a GameCube because Resident Evil 4 was coming out on that. And then they came out with Resident Evil Zero on the GameCube. And
Oh
then the
man, I forgot
Resident Evil
about
1
Zero.
remake. Yeah.
Zero's
But
the one
it's
where like
funny.
you would get to a safe room and then you would switch to
Yeah.
the other character and move them
Yeah.
around. Yeah, yeah,
And
it's crazy.
I've got those on my PS4. Code Veronica I have on the PS4, the digital version. And
Man,
I've actually got Code Veronica on the PS2 still.
that's a game I got far into, but I never beat Code Veronica.
Really? I had to get
Yeah.
my older brother to beat it at the time, but I beat it since then.
Oops.
But Yeah, it's funny. Originally I didn't like Resident Evil 4 when it first came out because
The
it was the
gameplay
change
was
from
different.
the yeah. I was so used to the tank controls. It took me forever to get used to the over the shoulder aim with the laser sight to
Yeah,
finally get good at that. But
I
it took me a while to appreciate that game. Originally I didn't like it.
I remember lending my friend my GameCube so he could play Resident Evil 4. And he gave it to me like a week later. He's like, "Ah, I beat it." I'm like, "What?" Like I've been struggling and grinding through this game.
Oh yeah,
So
it took me
so when he
so long to get good at that game, but
when he gave it back to me, I was like, "Okay, like I'm gonna full on just beat this game now."
yeah.
Like I didn't give
I
myself
can't
any
tell you how many
excuses.
times I died to just the quick time events with the boulder was crushing me because I couldn't push the buttons fast enough or in the right order. And the
There was
Krauser knife
something.
fight, oh, I died so much.
Isn't there like you go on one of those sky lifts at one point, and like you got to time a shot correct? Like that would be my
Yeah.
thing was timing the shots, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, but oh man,
But
that's
yeah,
funny.
the remake
That's funny.
is so good, especially when you unlock the infinite rocket launcher.
Nice. That would be
It's
fun.
gravy. Yeah.
That would be fun.
That's like that and like the infinite ammo Chicago typewriter is the only reason I suffered through professional mode to get to unlock that stuff.
Oh man. So what you got there behind you right there? What are all these books
Right.
that you got behind your
Oh, that's
shoulder?
the
Yeah.
those are the Marvel
Oh,
books
okay.
that yeah, the Dark Phoenix
Gotcha.
saga. The ones that Tim were disappointed in me collecting instead of DC.
And on the wall,
It's
that's
hard to
the
tell because
okay.
of the glare. Yeah, yeah. The wall, I've still got those
That's the
original
Reign of
Reign of
Superman. Got
Superman
you. Got
books.
you.
Yeah, these were the exact issues I still have from my childhood,
That's awesome. Yeah, the Reign of
and
the
I've got
Superman is the one of the those books are one of the few sets of books that I kept from my childhood because like bags and boards like didn't really buy them back then. Just
yeah.
was just wasn't something I could get, and so a lot of books I just eventually recycled because they were so beat up. Like I wish I would have never done that. I would have kept them
Oh yeah,
all.
yeah.
Like,
My
but
original copies got so many spine ticks on them
oh,
from just
dude, those are
reading them. But
those are
yeah.
badges of honor, dude.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a
no
beautiful
doubt.
thing.
I bought
Yeah,
um I bought another set of the Reign of Superman just to have like a mint copy set of them too that I keep in the boxes down here. I
nice.
saw Matt, the boy who had seven, was selling a whole set like cheap. I think $25 or something. And some of them
Okay.
were actually signed by Dan Jurgens. So I was like,
What?
I gotta buy that.
That's
And
awesome.
they're like all like minty. So I've got my original copies up here and like the mint copies in the box.
That works, dude. It's good, man.
Yeah,
Um, I think you've said the Eradicator was your favorite Superman, right?
yeah, yeah.
Of
I love that
of the
costume
Reign.
design. Yeah, yeah, of the rain. I think it's just the
Yeah,
costume design that I like. I like the black stripes down the side with the S symbol that's actually attached to the cape. I
the
thought that was
cape.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if I ever get to where I can cosplay, I want an Eradicator costume.
Oh man, it's so crazy that like that's your first the it's almost all yellow cover, the Eradicator versus Guy Gardner, right? That was your
Yeah.
first issue.
Yep. Issue 688.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And when I originally saw that, I just thought that was Superman in a different costume. Then I started reading it and I was like, Superman died? Like, it blew my mind because I was like 12, I think, maybe
That's
13,
see, we were
depending on the
reading
month that it came out.
the death of Superman, but we weren't in a position to get to the comic book stores weekly. So
Yeah.
it's like we had part one and then we had this issue. It's like it wasn't until years later that I read it from beginning to end. Well, let me take that back. It wasn't until the trade came out that I read the full complete
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. That's,
It wasn't in,
where's it at?
it wasn't until
Here
years
it
later
is.
that I owned
Yeah.
every single floppy. Yeah, that's the one.
This
That's
is
the
the
one.
exact trade that I've had since it came out back in the 90s. That's how because I didn't
I
get the original issues. I would just pick them up here and there at the flea market
yeah,
when I
yeah.
could find them before I finally got the whole set put together. And I'm still missing because see, I just thought it was these issues
Uh-huh.
from 18 on. I didn't know about the cameo in 17, so I still don't have issue 17, and
Oh
I
yeah, I
still
think you
don't
mentioned
have
that in a stream recently
yeah,
in one of my
Man of Steel
chat. Yeah.
17. I still need to get for the single issues, and I believe it's Justice League issue 70, the epilogue, The Funeral for a Friend.
Yep.
I still
Yep.
need to pick that one up. But other than that, I finally like got all the other issues in this set. But yeah, this I've read this trade so many times, man. I really there's so much like awesome nostalgia just looking at this again. I'm probably gonna
Well,
read it again before I go to bed tonight.
well, then you got those the card set too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I picked
The
up
Death of
that
Superman card set.
last year, I think.
Yeah, I remember
I
you
found
doing a
it.
video on that.
Yeah, I've got the Death and Return card set, the
That's
full.
sweet. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I think back in the day I bought one pack of those. I just like nowadays I want to buy a box, but I want to buy a sealed box so I have to go through every pack and open it
Oh yeah.
myself.
I thought
But
about getting a
the
sealed
way
box, but I saw the whole set on eBay for like
it's
$15.
it's a far cheaper
So
option.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. And I love that some of them are like they use like the covers from the actual issues on some of the
Mhm.
cards.
That oh man, that there in the bottom left corner, the one where your
Yeah.
fingers at, that's a that is one of my all-time favorite Superman covers. It's just so well done.
That issue is on the wall right there too.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the Reign of the Superman branding, but
Yeah.
it's to me it's still tied in with it because that's when
Oh yeah.
Clark
Yeah.
returns.
I
Yeah.
put it like I put like issue 505, the like foil cover, and I just all the way to the Funeral for a Friend epilogue from Superman issue 83.
Oh, that's when they're cleaning up Coast City.
Yeah. Yep. So I just went ahead and put it like up to that issue on the wall with the rain.
Yeah, man.
If I had enough room, I would put the death of Superman set up too, and probably the funeral. But I don't have enough walls, man.
Oh man.
I
Tell
should
your
just like
chat
put it
about
up
how
in the
you
living
were.
room and see what happens.
Tell your chat what you told me before we went live. What were you planning on wearing tonight?
Oh yeah, almost like because I've got it in this drawer right here beside me. My Batman costume. I was like so close to throwing that on before the live.
Oh, did you see the video? I want to say David Comics and Wrestling. What is he? The Uncanny D Man now.
Yeah,
So on Batman Day, I made a Batman Day video. Celebrating Batman Day, and it's like the fourth one I've done where I pick up bad Batman covers and just kind of diss Batman the whole time. But David made a response video and he's talking trash about Superman. And I couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, talking about how Clark was or Superman was trying to pick a human name, and David, what is it? What's the Masterson kid the one that from that '70s show?
Oh,
That name was already taken, so he had to pick Clark Kent. Just
yeah.
I don't know. So I think it was Cody mentioned. He's like, I hope this happens every year. So yeah, I'm gonna next Batman Day. I'm picking up Batman covers right now in preparation for next Batman Day to talk trash about Batman and diss him.
Oh yeah, I know he's a huge like Bane fan too,
Mm-hmm.
and
He
he's
is.
one of the few guys that's also like a Scarlet Spider fan that I know.
Oh yeah. So I sent him. I did a giveaway for some of the most recent Scarlet Spider books, and I think it went to Mike, but Mike price tagged David, and I was like, oh, it's
Yeah,
perfect because I know David's really really big
I
into
know. I
Scarlet
love the
Spider.
original. I had almost the original, the whole Clone Wars story back in the day, and those are some
That's
issues I still haven't got back yet.
that's man.
I need to get. I believe it's Web of Spider-Man 118 was Ben Riley's first appearance as Scarlet Spider.
I
I
think
still need
I
to get
own
that
that.
back in the collection. But yeah, I love like because the first Spider-Man story I read was Maximum Carnage. and that's another set I still need to work on because it
I
was like a
I
14 issue set. I've got 7 of
yes.
the issues, so I still need 7 more.
I think it starts off with Spider-Man Unlimited #1 and ends with Spider-Man
Yeah,
Unlimited #2 or something
number
like
2.
that. And
Yeah,
so
that was
I owned
such.
that Spider-Man Unlimited #1.
Oh yeah, that was such a good
Yeah,
storyline.
I thought it was terrible when I finally read it, but I
Oh
read it
really?
years later, and I'm like, oh, there's no point to this. It's just they meet up and fight, and they just walk in over here, and then well, let's join the fight, and then all these characters join this fight. I don't know. I it was a book that I started in my youth, and so I read it in my 20s, and it just didn't hold
Oh
up.
yeah,
I'd
I
like
haven't
to
read it since back in the day.
I'd like to reread it now to see if like how I think
Yeah,
about it, because like
I've
now I'm trying to appreciate different types
yeah
of writing, even if it's cheesy. I try to reword it in my head, use modern language to make it come off a little bit better. Like I said, the All Star Squadron, those books. Uh, let's see, this is like 81, 82, 83. So like, what's cracking is like something one of
yeah
like the characters say a lot. I'm like, what? And yeah, it's just I don't want to say it doesn't hold up. It's just you have to approach it with different eyes,
yeah.
and
It's just like one of those like cheesy fun stories.
yeah,
Kind of
that's how
like
I have to approach
kind of
it.
like a cheesy like old school popcorn type movie, but
Like
in
it's
comic
crazy
book
because
form.
like it's so like the characters are overly patriotic. Where a modern book now would question what the country's doing,
Yeah,
and I don't know which is the right take and which is the wrong take. Obviously the nation does have some issues, and
yeah,
whatever. But I don't. Also, on the other end of the spectrum, I don't think it's the worst thing to be patriotic and to love the country you live in that
yeah,
provides you all kinds of
for real.
freedoms. So it's just it's just weird reading it,
Yeah,
because it takes
I'm like
place
in the
during.
mindset like reality now sucks bad enough. Let's keep the
Yes,
comics fun because it's
give me
like
some
because as a
escapism.
kid, yeah, as a
That
kid
was the
growing
whole
up
point.
with the way that I grew up, comics was my escape from like the horrible stuff I was going through at the time. So it's like now I'm like living the childhood that I didn't get to live originally
Yeah.
because I'm still like in this like 90s and 80s era for comics.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I get it, making the comics as much as the real world as possible, because
But at the same time, these are like people flying around in tights.
yeah. So
There's
like,
no like yeah,
give me the
there's no
escapism. Like
yeah,
it's the same thing. Like when we watch wrestling, like we know it's fake. We know, and I mean it's real. Like they're really performing these
yeah.
moves. I guess I
Just
should say
because
it's
the outcome, yeah, just
it's
because the outcome's
predetermined.
predetermined
It's
doesn't
predetermined,
take
right?
away
It's
like the entertainment of the athleticism.
right, and we want to get lost in that, and so
Yeah, it's just like
um,
that's what I don't get. Like people that put down wrestling, it's like,
it's no different than watching a movie.
yeah, like what are you doing? Do you not have fun when you watch like a thriller or an action movie or a comedy?
What
Of
what
course,
gets me
it's acting.
what gets me is when like comic fans, like people who read comics, like and they're like, oh, I don't understand wrestling. I'm like, dude, wrestling
Yeah,
is a live action comic book.
yeah.
It's just doesn't have the special
When it comes
effects.
to wrestling, I'm still that guy that's like, it's real to me. Shut up.
Oh man,
Yeah, you know.
um, dude, there's nothing like getting lost in a wrestling match. You jump up when your favorite wrestler wins.
Yeah,
Like, oh
I feel
man.
like David Arquette and Ready to Rumble, man. I'm like,
So,
I'm still like, ever since like I was 11 when I saw my first wrestling match, and I'm still a fan to this day.
do you remember what your first wrestling match was,
It was
or was it
Sting
just something
versus
on
Ric
TV?
Flair.
Oh, that's a great match.
Yeah,
That's a great
and
match to be your first.
I've been a Sting fan like ever since. Ric Flair's okay, but I'm a Sting guy, and I
You
love
don't.
that Sting is still wrestling.
Well, that's what I was about to ask.
Like
Do
he
you,
was the first match I saw when I was 11 years old, and now I'm 43, and the man is still in the ring. I'm like, the
dude? And he's
dude's
doing some.
immortal, man.
He's
Yeah,
doing some
he's doing
crazy
crazy
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
He went through some tables the other day and whatnot. Yeah.
It's like how is like I wanted to be a wrestler when I was 11, and now I'm too old to be a wrestler at 43, and because I've got arthritis in my knees, and
Yeah,
Sting's
yeah.
like in his 60s and he's still like going
He's
strong, man. I
climbing
love it.
ladders and jumping off
Yeah,
of it
jumping off
outside the ring.
tables like God.
Well, that's it. I was just about to ask if you were keeping up with AEW at all.
Yeah,
I know you're
I
not
only
able to
get to
watch
see
the live
yeah,
shows, right?
I
You
only
have to
get to
catch
see
stuff on
like clips
YouTube.
and like videos on YouTube and like TikTok. A lot of times on TikTok, people will like live stream on
Ah,
TikTok
got you, got you,
with their
got you.
phone pointed at their TV, so I can like watch like that.
That's cool that you're still able to catch up and see it.
I
That's a
love
good
like the old school original Surfer Sting.
the flat
It took
top.
me a little while to get into the Crow version of Sting, but I love that version too. And the Joker Sting in TNA was hilarious, man.
That was some good stuff. Yeah.
That tripped me out.
Lady Prime
But yeah,
is a fan
I'm
of.
still a fan of the Surfer Sting. Like that's
Yeah,
probably still my favorite.
that's Lady Prime's favorite. She
But yeah, Crow Sting is cool too. But like like the nostalgia is Surfer Sting. I would
it's
love to be able
crazy
to
that
like meet him one day.
Sting became like the most popular wrestler in the world with
Yeah,
during a year when he didn't wrestle for a
it's
year.
funny. Like I
He
didn't
just
like.
set the Raptors.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when they first started doing the Crow Sting gimmick, I didn't know what it was from because I hadn't seen the movie The Crow yet. It was like I didn't go like watch the original Crow movie until probably maybe I think it was like 99 or 2000, and I saw that movie and I was like, "Oh, that's where they got that from." Like I thought it was
uh,
something original. I didn't know it was
uh,
based off that until like a
well,
couple years later.
and I like what Sting says. Scott Hall told him, or I think it's Scott Hall said he told Sting is like, uh, "Don't rip off the Undertaker, but rip off the Undertaker." It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I never saw the appeal though in Sting wrestling the Undertaker. Like I know there's some people that like that was their dream
Yeah,
match.
I would have liked to have seen it when, because I know like, but then Sting got injured when he was in WWE and couldn't really hang around, unfortunately.
Is that your dream match for the Undertaker? Undertaker dream match is
Uh,
versus Sting.
a couple years ago it would have been, but not now. I don't think.
What is your
Like
Undertaker dream
I would
match
have
then?
loved to have seen it when they were both more in their prime.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, is that like if you could have one match where you pit the Undertaker against somebody, is it versus Sting?
If we could get the prime versions of them in like any
Yeah,
era, yeah, I would say yeah. I would
yeah.
love to see that.
My ultimate dream match for the Undertaker would have been against Evil Doink. I'm telling you, and like just let the theatrics play out. Like it would have been the ultimate feud for me. Undertaker and
Yeah,
his dark magic versus the evil clown. You could have multiple versions of the clown come out. Like I booked this whole thing in my head.
that
That's
would have
like
been cool.
that's my ultimate dream match is
Because I
Evil Doink
remember like
versus the Undertaker.
I, I don't know if it was it regular Nintendo where it had the arcade game
Yeah, the
where it
WrestleMania
was
the arcade game.
had
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Undertaker would hit people with the tombstone and Razor Ramon's arm
yeah.
would turn into a razor and
Yeah.
I remember playing that man and it had Doink the Clown, it
Didn't he
had
have the
Razor
big
Ramon,
hammer?
Taker. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yokozuna was in it. I want to say Bret Hart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That that was such a cool game back in the day, man.
I just think they had a missed opportunity. That should have been the guy instead of Giant Gonzalez. It should have been Evil Doink feuding with the Undertaker. That
Yeah,
you could print money with that.
I'm still salty that Undertaker lost his undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I feel like that never should have happened.
Lady Prime and myself were there for that in New
Oh,
Orleans.
really?
Yeah, dude. I've if you think it's awkward watching it on pay per view or on Peacock, when you can watch it from the network. If you think it's awkward sitting through the crowd and when you watch it on TV, like it was so weird being in the building
Yeah.
right after he lost. Like they talk about the air was taken out of a building. That's how it felt.
Yeah, I felt
Like
like like
nobody knew
just
how to react.
silence. Yeah.
And it's
I know
funny
I
because
know like watching it
I
on TV they had the silence and then they showed the close up of that one dude like
yeah. That's how it was in that building. Like, and I had just told my wife, I had just told her like 4 or 5 minutes before that match ended, like nobody's really into this match because they know Brock Lesnar can't win. They know that Brock Lesnar's not going to win this match,
yeah.
and then that happened.
Yeah, that my jaw hit the floor when I saw that happen, man, cuz I didn't think they were going to end his streak. But I believe I heard the Undertaker got a legitimate concussion during that match.
Yeah, like going back and watching it now, like you can see that he's not
Yeah.
fully there. Um,
It was
and
different like I
during
remember like he looked kind of out of it for a little bit and I didn't know if it was
well,
a work or not, but I
and,
remember
and then
hearing it was a concussion, yeah.
when you watch that match, it's just kind of like, eh. And now you find out he had a concussion or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, bottom tier said his ultimate dream match is Ray Phoenix versus Ricky Steamboat.
Oh man, that would be
Fanboy
wild.
Fanboy Prime, what is the biggest moment in wrestling you think you witnessed live? Um, I think that's it. That's probably it. That's like probably be the one that's the most talked
The
about that I
streak,
was
yeah.
in the when I was in the building for that. Like, ask me what the best match I witnessed live, and I've got an answer for that too.
Yeah.
The best match I saw live was WrestleMania 25, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
Oh
It
wow,
that
man.
was that
That's
was cool
awesome.
being there for that. Yeah, so like I like to tell
That was
people like
such an epic match.
I like to tell people for the WrestleManias I went to because I went to five. I went to WrestleMania 17, which is a lot of people say it's the greatest WrestleMania. I went to WrestleMania 25, which I say has the greatest match. I went to WrestleMania 26 because I wanted to see the Undertaker Shawn Michaels rematch. So I always tell everybody it's the greatest rematch of all time. Went to WrestleMania 30, which the streak ended, and then I went to WrestleMania 32, which is the highest attended WrestleMania. So like that's how I always I have a subtitle for each WrestleMania I went to.
That's
Um,
awesome,
I've had
man.
I've had plans to go to other WrestleManias. It just they didn't come together. Like totally regret not going to the second WrestleMania in Dallas. Uh, because of Stone Cold wrestling Kevin Owens. Like, oh man, I
Oh
would have
yeah.
wanted to see Stone
That would have
Cold's
been
last
cool to
official
see live.
match. Yeah.
I know I've only been to two shows and they were both Monday Night Raws.
Which Raws did you go to? I know you went to one recently. What was
As
the first one you went to?
oh gosh, I can't even remember now, but it was like 2018, I think.
Okay.
And then
Nice,
the
nice.
one recently. So like the best match I've seen live was probably like Gunther versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental title.
That's not a bad match.
Yeah.
That's not a bad match to see. Yeah.
But one day, man, I hope to make it to like a WrestleMania or something. That would be like a bucket list goal to see a live WrestleMania. But I would
Try to
probably
sit on
be
the
like so far up in the
I was gonna say try to
rafters.
sit on the
I would
floor.
I
Try to
would be
sit on
like
the floor.
yeah, I would be like Sting up in the rafters with a pair of binoculars trying to watch the show.
we so we sat on the floor for WrestleMania 30, and we have a whole bunch of the confetti that fell down after Daniel Bryan won the title. Like
Oh
we
man,
were, we cleaned out our like drink cup because like we have a souvenir drink cup. We cleaned it out. I think I used my shirt so it would dry, and then just stuffed it as much confetti we could find. And our plan, I guess the plan was to put a shadow box or something together, but we haven't done that. So we've lost some
yeah.
pieces of the confetti over the years, but it's just pretty
I
cool.
remember I remember being so happy when they put the belt on Bryan because I was like the part of me in the back of my mind like, are they gonna do it? Are they not gonna do it? They need to do it.
So that WrestleMania was like probably my most fun experience. Went with my best friend, Nightwing 207, who we've talked about already on this stream, and we got there a few hours early. We're just hanging out outside WrestleMania. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Yes Chants started up
Yeah,
just throughout the day while we were waiting. Now, it was one of the worst experiences once we got into the Superdome because they had two of the entrances closed off, and it's like everybody met up in this one spot, like cross traffic. That was terrible, terrible. We thought
uh,
Lady Pop thought she was gonna die. She was in panic mode. Um, but outside the Superdome was just cool. It's one of the best. Yeah, that weekend was cool. That weekend was cool.
Have you ever got to see an AEW show live?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The last AEW Dynamite of 2019. It was like the week before Christmas, I think, because I don't think they ran. I could be wrong. They may have ran another show or two afterwards, but I thought it was the last one, and they didn't pick up till the new year. And it's considered one of the worst episodes of AEW
Oh really?
Dynamite. Yeah, and if you hear Tony Khan talk about it, it's like he took over booking duties after that episode. Um, I think it ended with the Young Bucks wrestling for the tag team titles. It was against SoCal Uncensored at the time, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. But the Dark Order like was a large group of nobodies at the time jump in the ring and they're attacking everybody at the end, and it's like it's mocked because this one guy's throwing fake punches, but like they're like literally so far away that they were made fun of and mocked.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you ever look up the worst episode of Dynamite or something on YouTube, it'll pull up the episode we went to. It's funny because Ollie was trying to walk down the steps to get to the ring because he wanted to go help the Young Bucks. He was so upset. Let's see, he would have been about I think he was 4 at the time. So
Really?
yeah, he went to his first show at 4 years old. I didn't go to my first show till I was 15. It was my first wrestling show
Oh,
was a Superstars taping before WrestleMania 12. So it was
oh, that's cool.
1996. Yeah, The Rock talks about in his book that was his debut in the WWF was in Corpus Christi, Texas. I don't remember seeing him that night, but
Oh.
he says it in his book, so I'm like, oh, I'm part of history. So maybe
The
maybe
Rocky
that's
Maivia.
maybe that's the biggest moment, Cody, is I saw The Rock's WWE debut. Um, but I don't remember it. So if he was there, I I don't know. He was probably still Flex Cavana at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I've been to an AEW show. The coolest shows I've been to though were Ring of Honor shows because it's the only shows I've sat front row at. Those well,
Yeah.
I've been to a really, really, really low budget indie show at a bar in San Antonio. Um, that was fun. That was fun. Just a
Yeah, it was
bunch of no
probably a cool
names, but
experience. The only
yeah,
time I've
yeah.
ever like seen Ring of Honor was just like in old like videos and stuff, matches and
No, man.
videos.
So we've uh, set ring of front row of Ring of Honor, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 shows.
Yeah.
But Ring of Honor ran a pay per view in San Antonio in this Shriners Hall, and so I did make it front row to a pay per view. It was
That's awesome.
a Ring
I
of
can't
Honor show.
remember
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Ring of Honor or not, but I used to watch like Kevin Steen and El Generico matches on YouTube.
That's probably it's either Ring of Honor or Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They had
Yeah.
a lot of matches there. Yeah.
So
The first
I've been
time I
following
made it
those
on,
guys for a while.
gotcha. So even before sitting front row at that pay per view event, I made it onto pay per view for Ring of Honor's 2014 Final Battle, and it's
Oh yeah.
because they were doing, you know how they do like the video package before a match. Well, I
Yeah.
had taken a sign to this one show. This is wrestler called his name was R.D. Evans, and he cut this promo. So he had a gimmick going on that he was part of the new streak, and he was like it was basically like Goldberg's streak in WCW.
Uh,
But his streak was fake, and he would talk about how he went to China and he wrestled a tiger, or even something like and so he had all these numbers high. But he talked about because at the show, the Ring of Honor show there in San Antonio, he was wrestling for the TV title, and he said that was going to be his Georgia Dome, like when Goldberg beat Hogan for the world title at the Georgia Dome. So I took a sign like this is R.D. Evans' Georgia Dome, and we took pictures with him before the show,
that's awesome, man.
and so like for the video package at this pay-per-view event, they cut to the scene of me holding the sign and him walking around in front of me. So I've got to get that pay-per-view on DVD so I can see myself again, because we had ordered it at the time on DirecTV. Well, when we got rid of DirecTV, we lost the pay-per-view. So
Uh,
but I was just thought it was cool. I was like, I finally made it live onto a wrestling show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, the only other time I've been live on a wrestling show is a SmackDown where it'll cut to this one angle and you could see somebody in the background, far background, hold up this bright yellow sign and it would go up and down every time the camera cut to there. And it was me and a friend. We had gone to a SmackDown in man, that might be 2005. If not, it was late 2004, but I think it was 2005. And you know
Man,
what? It was 2005 because it was before Eddie Guerrero died.
uh,
Yeah, they were building up to the Batista versus Eddie Guerrero at No Mercy. So,
I can't believe that was like that long ago now.
dude, 18
Because
years ago, because it was
yeah,
around this time.
it don't feel like it, man. Because I still like, I will say it was WrestleMania 20 where they had Eddie as the champion and Benoit won his match and they like in the ring together with the confetti coming down. It don't feel like it's
So,
been that long, but God, it's been a long time now.
so I was live at the Night of Champions in 2007 in Houston,
Yeah,
and that's the pay per view where CM Punk replaced no, John Morrison replaced Chris Benoit because he wasn't there that weekend.
yeah,
So
man,
we're
that's
me and my
crazy.
cousin are like looking at it like what's going on. So next day I'm driving back from Houston to San Antonio and then we're hearing all this news that Chris Benoit died and yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that blew my mind, man, because they he passed away and then they did that tribute on Raw, and then like a
And then
day or two later
you find out the real
they found
story and it's
out
like,
yeah like what happened, and it was like, oh my God, dude, that's crazy.
do you go back and watch Chris Benoit matches?
Uh, every day, like if I go
Because there's
back
some
and like
people there's
watch
some
old
people who
wrestling,
won't.
because I watched them like when I had Peacock, or
Yeah.
no, when I had the network before they went back to before they went to Peacock. I used to rewatch old WrestleManias, and I would just rewatch the whole things. So yeah, I would
Gotcha.
see his matches and stuff when I
There's
rewatched them.
some people who won't touch it. I asked David that too, and he says he'll watch them, and I kind of said yeah because it's like a disservice to the other guy in the ring. Like this match
Yeah,
didn't take place now
it's
because
like
you know.
like Randy Orton, he won his first world title
Yes, he
from
did.
Benoit, and it's like
SummerSlam 2004.
they
They
can't
never
mention that on TV, and it's
they
like
never show who he pinned for it because
yeah,
they just show him celebrating with the title. Yeah. So I mean it's a tragedy, obviously,
yeah,
and you hate what he did, but yeah, I don't know.
it's crazy. I think
It's like
they said he had like the mind of like an 80-year-old old timers patient when they did the autopsy. It's like
oh
God,
well, I mean, when you
that's
go back
crazy.
and watch his matches, some of the chair shots he took,
Yeah, I know,
there's some of
like
the loudest pops that you hear. Those
yeah.
bang.
And when he would
So
do those diving headbutts off like the steel cage and stuff, you could tell that junk, well, it was like hurting, man. It's like I
yep,
can't imagine the amount of like pills he was having to take just to like continue.
yeah. Man, I
Yeah,
don't know.
because I
That
know
was.
after that they implemented like so many like they stopped doing steel chair shots to the head. They
Hmm.
stopped or they cracked down harder on like steroids and stuff.
Yep,
It's like, man, too little, too late for him.
it's crazy. It's definitely one of the
Yeah,
bigger, just tragedies of
and
well, I mean
I've
life,
heard,
but of wrestling
yeah,
specifically.
I've heard that his son wants to wrestle, but so like they
Yeah,
nobody will hire him or something.
I think he's appeared in the crowd at a few AEW shows. I can't
Yeah, I
remember what
saw
his name
like
is, but
they showed
yeah.
him with CM Punk in an AEW show, and it's
Yes,
crazy
yeah.
how much he looks like a young Chris Benoit. But I think
Mm.
he wanted to use the name Chris Benoit, if I'm not mistaken, and WWE won't touch that.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't even think they would let him wrestle under David Benoit. I don't think they would let him use his last name at all.
probably not.
So who knows? I don't know if he'll ever wrestle in AEW or not. But if he does, I still don't think it'll be under the name Benoit. It'll probably be under a different name.
Mm.
But if he really wants to like wrestle, it would be cool to see what he could do in the ring.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's cool that
You don't
he,
want to hinder him based
yeah,
upon the choices of his
it's cool
father or
to see that
whatnot.
he has like an appreciation for wrestling.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Sorry, this is supposed to be a comic chat, right? And we're talking about wrestling
It's all good, man. Like
and
wrestling is just another thing that I could talk about forever because I never stopped watching wrestling. So like from the old school guys to the new guys, I still like I could talk about it for days because there's so many of the new guys that I just like found out like discovered through NXT and stuff like Champa, Johnny Gargano,
I
Shinsuke
man,
Nakamura,
I miss the
AJ
golden age
Styles and stuff.
of NXT when the takeovers were so amazing. Like I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, they were
oh
like
man, I
it was
miss
like
those
to me like those days of NXT was like constantly outshining
the
Raw
main
and
roster.
SmackDown, and even a
Yes.
lot of the pay-per-views NXT
Yes,
was
dude.
outshining.
Those
There was so
takeovers were
much
so
talent.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of those guys could definitely be future world champions. I'm a huge fan of Pete Dunne.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah,
With
but
his
I don't.
joint
Yeah,
manipulation.
yeah.
Then it gets to
I
the
would
main
love to
roster
see
and
him
he's
like one day be a world champion, man. But I just don't
well
know if it'll happen like with Vince McMahon having
well now
any
he's
kind of
what is he?
control
He's
still.
Butch now, right? That's what they call him
Yeah,
Butch and
I
he's just supposed to
hate
be like
that.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I still call
So
him Pete Dunne. I'm not gonna
yeah.
call him Butch, man. But I would love, like, I don't know if he'll ever hold a main championship as long as Vince McMahon has any kind of control because,
I don't think he would in WWE.
yeah,
I think if you're a smaller guy, you know
but he
what
was
company you
so
need to
good,
work for.
man. Yeah,
If
he's
you're a
so
smaller
good.
guy, you know you need to go to AEW where you'll have the opportunity. Because I look at Adam Cole and I'm like, he would have never been a WWE champion. I don't think.
Yeah, that's another thing that bugs me, man, because in the NXT, the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, I feel like those guys should have came up to the main roster and like I would have loved to have seen them had a feud with the Shield on the main roster. I would love, but it's never going to happen now. That would have been so good, I think.
I was hoping that the Undisputed Era was going to be back together in AEW, but I
Yeah,
know
I
that
thought they were for a little bit, but then I think,
I think health,
yeah,
I think Bobby Fish had a little bit of an injury, and then Kyle
yeah,
O'Reilly's been out for over a year now. So,
it's a shame,
but
man.
I don't know. Do you keep up?
I feel like they could have been if they had like been used right on the main roster. I feel like they could have been now what Judgment Day is.
Oh, see, I don't really watch WWE much anymore. Like I'll try to catch the pay-per-views. Of course, this past Saturday I wound up working, so I didn't get to see
Yeah,
Fastlane. Um, so I really don't know a lot of what's going on there, but I follow AEW pretty consistently. Um, Roderick Strong is doing some of his best work. I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen clips with
yeah. I've seen the
Adam.
clips and stuff. Yeah,
Adam. It's
it
like
tripped me out when they paired up MJF and Adam Cole because I didn't think they
who
were going to make them a team, and then they did
who would
like
have
some of the
thought that would
best.
blow up
They did
so
some of the
much?
best promo stuff like together. Is so cool.
And then they both hate Tony Schiavone and
Yeah,
oh man, Russ,
it's like I.
I hate to end the stream.
Oh, it's good, man. Yeah.
I'm getting messages that my son needs to be picked up because he's at my mom's right now.
Oh,
So
okay. I'm
can
sorry I
we
kept
do?
you so long, man.
No, no, dude. I want to be on here for like 2 more hours, but can we
Yeah.
do part two at
Oh,
some point?
absolutely, man. We'll definitely do this again.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll actually talk about comics instead of wrestling and video
Yeah.
games.
Well,
No, man, but it's fun. Like I said, dude, I'm sorry.
oh, it's all good, man.
He had the opportunity to go play with his cousin earlier today, but
Yeah.
he doesn't like to stay the night anywhere. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
very rare that he stays the night. And Lady Prime asked him one time, he's like, "Well, why don't you want to stay the night?" He says, "I don't feel as safe there as I do here." And it's just like, how do you, like, how do we say no? You got to go stay the night over there. So,
Oh, yeah, for
um,
real.
my
Really quick, do
mom's
you got
texting me,
any videos you want to promote right quick that's coming up or?
dude, like, I really need to get better about doing videos that are not haul videos.
Yeah.
Haul videos are just so easy, and like I see the videos you do, and I'm like, man, how does he do it so easy? Like, I don't know. I want to eventually start because I was doing a whole bunch of Superman Sunday stuff. Like I'm just showing like 10 random comics, or I show a set of books. What I would like to do for the Superman Sundays at some point is like, hey, here's this issue. Let's talk about it. Kind of like when you did your random reads and you explained
Oh yeah.
what goes on in the issue. Like I'd like to do that. I just don't really have confidence when I do it. Well, Bor, have a great one, man. I appreciate you being here. I didn't even know you were here that long, dude. Hey, is that Dave
Yeah, I
right there?
appreciate yeah, I think
Just
so.
your Dave, just your average geeks. That's one of my favorite channels. One of my favorite videos to watch is when he does his
Oh
new
yeah.
pickups and he just talks about his recommendations. I almost bought um an issue of something epic because just based upon how Dave's talked about it, but I think I'm gonna try to get it in a trade format.
Oh,
So Dave is one of my favorite people. I'm gonna try to get
oh yeah,
Dave to
he's
come on
awesome.
to my on my Saturday morning stretch. So that if I'm gonna promote anything, I'll just promote the Saturday morning stretch. I do that
All right.
every morning. I've been starting at 7:50 a.m. Central Time. So for you East Coasters, that's what 8:50 a.m. Everybody on the
Yep.
West Coast though, that's like that's like 5:50 a.m. I know Sith over at
Yeah.
Spine Tick Sith always talk about how he catches the replay because he's up so he's it's way too early for him. But yeah, so on the Saturday morning stretch, I've been doing cover battles every other week with Neil Collects. So Neil Collects is also one of the channels that supported me from the beginning. So I always appreciate Neil. Um,
Awesome, man.
and we were doing it every other week because I like to just kind of like talk about whatever on the off weeks. But I did ask Neil if he wants to kind of not necessarily be a permanent co-host, but kind of just jump in on the stretch every week because it's
Yeah.
fun
I
having
don't know,
someone
man.
else.
He was pretty upset that he lost that cover battle. It's
It's
giving you the evil eye there, it looked like.
he got onto me this week because he said I don't let him talk. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Neil, I'm sorry." Like sometimes I go off, and then I looked up and Neil's there, and I was like, "Well, Neil, what about your favorite movies?" Just I forgot, but it's I don't know. It's so much easier doing a stream when you have someone to interact with.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
don't get me wrong. Like, there's been most of my streams are me talking with the chat, and when the chat's popping, like, okay, you can get through an hour quick. Um, but it's always fun when you have someone like you can see visually to talk to. So
Oh yeah,
like
no
I
doubt.
would love if I could get Dave to come on one of the live streams this morning.
That
I
would be
mean
awesome to see,
on a
man.
Saturday morning or something like that. And at some point I want to bring back like I was doing the Monday hangout
Oh
and
yeah.
I kind of got away with it during summertime because Ollie was home with me during the summer and it was just more of a hassle like hey let me get everything ready for him and then let me go live um, and then taking care of Ollie, like my sleep because I work overnights got thrown
Oh yeah.
off.
That's
And it's
rough.
just so hard to go live when you're just so exhausted. Like, and I'm exhausted all the time. This is the first vacation I've had since the beginning of the year. Yes, definitely.
Man.
Like I said, Dave, you rock. So love to have you on, and we'll get that together at some point. Um, but yeah, like I said, Dave and his recommendation videos. I almost got an issue of something epic, but like I said, I think I'll wait till the trade. Just the way he was talking about it, I was like, man, this is like I got to check out this book.
Yeah, that's
Plus,
cool, man. Like when you like it's cool when people just show books, but when they actually show the book and like to say a little bit about it,
like
that's
yeah,
even
because then
better.
I know
Yeah.
you read it and it's not just a cover by.
Yeah.
And so, my ultimate dream is to go through how I was talking about how I've been going through issues and trying to build up the Infinite Crisis, all the countdown and the build up. Like that would be my ultimate dream to just go issue by issue
Yeah.
and cover it, talk about why I loved it and just what went on. But
That would be awesome to see, man.
I've
Because
been
yeah,
throwing
Infinite
around some
Crisis
ideas.
is one that I haven't read.
Oh, dude, it's so good. But that's been an idea like I've been throwing around in my head. Like, how do I want to do that? I've considered doing it like podcast style, which I would like to do more of. Like, I would like to have more content on YouTube that you don't have to sit and watch. That you can just. I
Yeah,
like when
listen
I
to
can.
while you're going about your day. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I like when people have videos that I can just I set it down, and I'm more listening to it than watching it. Like bottom tier collector. Like if there's somebody that comes up with like long form content, bottom tier collector. And so um,
Yep.
I like to put his stuff on and just I can wash dishes or whatever, and like I can still peek at the camera when I have a chance. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So I've got nothing new to promote other than the Saturday morning stretch
All right.
and haul videos.
That's cool.
And
I
then
mean, I
we'll try to
love
get
seeing your haul videos, man, because it's all like the stuff that I love to collect too. So I like
these older
love
books.
seeing those
Yeah, and I think you
videos.
you
Yeah,
think you commented that recently that you really like the haul videos I've been doing and some of the older stuff I've been showing. I'm trying
because
to get Lady Prime involved with the channel more. We're gonna whether it's
yeah,
wrestling
the Wrestle
shirts
Crate
or
videos
wrestling
and stuff
figures.
is fun are fun too, man. Because
Yeah.
I've been so close so many times to like getting like Wrestle Crate just for like the autographs and shirts and stuff.
Well, did you see the most recent one?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was
Dude,
the Nasty Boys, right?
yeah, dude, to have both of
Yeah,
them separate, like, cause with
that was cool to see them both in there.
on the card it said Jerry Sags and a Brian Knobs autograph. So when she pulls it out and it's just Brian Knobs, I'm like, oh, I thought it was gonna be a team photo, and they're just gonna have an autograph on both sides. But then she found the other one. I was like, man, that's awesome to get
Yeah, that's
both of
cool.
them. Who's your favorite autograph that you've gotten from Pro Wrestling Crate? Was it Vicky Guerrero? Oh, it was Bob Holly, wasn't it? She does love herself some Bob Holly. So,
Uh,
oh man,
but
Russ, I
yeah,
appreciate you having me on, dude. Like for real.
oh,
Like,
it was
but yeah,
awesome, man. It
I'd
was a great
love to
time.
do part two, even if it's later this week. I don't care. But
Yeah,
get together and figure out what time we're both available. Like I said,
yeah, we can
it's
just do like a random stream talking wrestling or something if you want.
heck yeah, dude. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. I know that bottom tier collectors like dream stream is uh you, me, him, and David talking about wrestling. That's like his all time. Like he has mentioned it
Oh
multiple
man,
times.
we need to
So
make that happen one day, man.
so I'm
Like
gonna put
work
it out
out
in
a
the universe.
schedule where work out a
Yeah. Well,
schedule where
see,
we can get all four of us on at the same time and just do it. It don't
and I'd
matter.
like
I don't care
to.
whose channel it's on. It don't
I'd
matter.
like to do like because I have like the Saturday morning stretch, and that's like more comic based. I would like to do a
Yeah.
live stream where we could just talk wrestling and I was doing it a little bit on Mondays where like we would talk about an old match or an old pay per view or something like that. So yeah, maybe me and you could figure something out like that. I know
Oh
mine and
yeah, that'd
David's
be cool,
schedules
man.
a little harder to line up, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to cut out of here so
Oh, no
quickly,
worries,
but
man. I mean, we've
I
been
need to.
going for over 2 hours now, so it's all good.
Well, appreciate you
Again,
having me on, dude.
if anybody watches on the replay that happens to not know Fanboy Prime, again, his link is the first one in the description. Go check his channel out for some great content. And my stuff is like next week. I got this show coming back. I think Mutant Agenda is going to be on next, but I still need to get with them and confirm that.
Nice.
And I might actually start a review series soon. I've been meaning to do it for a long time, where I read through the classic X-Men series and review those one issue at a time. But
Do it.
I'm lazy.
For real, like one of the reasons why haul videos are so prevalent is because it's so easy. You just set the
Yeah.
camera up and you show what you got. But like a
But
review,
yeah, that's
like
been in the
if
back of my mind for a long time now, for like several months, and I just haven't done it yet.
when you do a video like that, do you over edit it
Yeah,
or do
yeah,
you just
because a
let it or
lot
do
of
you just
I
let it
like I mess
do you
up
just let
so
it
much
roll?
when I do like like regular
Got you,
videos.
got you.
So I like there's so many times where I'm doing a video and I say
Yes,
and you don't
yes,
see any
dude.
of
I
that
can
in the final
relate.
video because I edit all those out.
That is my biggest like pet peeve for myself when I'm watching it. I mean, when I'm
Like,
recording it, is I
yeah,
do that
when I'm
so
doing a
much. And
regular
like,
like edited video, I lose my train of thought so
oh
much.
man
Yeah,
alive. But yeah, I relate to that. So that's the reason why I'm so like hesitant to do it because I already know how much work it's going to be, and I just don't have confidence in myself to do it. But
yeah. What gets me, man, is after I've edited a video and got it ready to go, I think of something else I should have like mentioned, and I'm
that's why
every
I
time.
that's why I don't mind, or why I like the live streams so much, is because I can
Yeah,
get away with the ums and the because it's just real. Like you're having a just casual conversation. It's just how you
yeah.
talk, and it kind of free flows. But when you do a video like that, you want to do a presentation. You want to do something that anybody can pick up and not notice that. And it's just so like I judge myself so harshly too.
Oh, I'm the same.
So
Like really quick before I end it, just to circle it back around to comics, the artist that I like had a brain fart on earlier was Bruce Timm.
oh yes,
That was the
okay,
one I was
yes.
trying to think of. Yeah, I love his art
Nice.
too. But just to
For
like
sure.
circle it around and end it on comics.
Let me let me see.
What's up?
Here we go. So we can circle back to comics. Here's a random issue of Transformer.
Nice.
it's
All
a
right.
it's an issue of Transformers number 2 that I got for $1. That's they
Oh, cool.
the actual book itself, other than the cover, is beautiful. Like white pages, pristine, crisp white pages. The cover and the back of it is just like trash. So I don't know if somebody I can't explain what happened to this book. Like I said, it was $1 pickup.
Man.
Um,
Maybe Comics by the Bay took it surfing with them.
I love that he's got this vendetta against
Yeah.
Spawn. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
All right.
so
I'll wrap it up here and just say keep it 9,000.
oh,
I'll
I love
catch
it.
you guys next time.